Says New York Mayor Eric Adams becomes the city's first sitting mayor to be indicted, accused of taking illegal campaign contributions and bribes over nearly a decade of public service.
Damian Williams is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and laid out the case against Adams.
We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions.
He says Adams repeatedly failed to disclose the benefits despite his duty to do so.
He told the public he received no gifts, even though he was secretly being showered with them.
Adams says he has been targeted and is innocent.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, the mayor also urging New Yorkers to reserve judgment. A New York appeals court hearing arguments from lawyers for former President Trump, trying to convince a panel of 5 judges to overturn the civil fraud judgment against him. Earlier this year, a judge found Trump, his 2 oldest sons, and Trump Organization executives liable for inflating the company's net worth, conspiring to defraud insurers, and issuing false financial statements, awarding the state more than $460 million.
Trump's attorney, John Sauer, who successfully argued on behalf of the former president in the U.S. Supreme Court in that presidential immunity case, made the case today that the enormous penalty is excessive because the allegations are past the statute of limitations.
Fox's Brian Yennis, they're also arguing the state attorney general exceeded her authority. Florida's Big Bend area could get hit later today by a Category 4 hurricane as Helene gains strength.
This is an area with the highest storm surge potential when you look at the forecast, 15 to 20 feet. We do have mandatory evacuations. They wanted everybody out by 8 a.m. The winds over 100 miles per hour, 120 miles per hour is what we could be dealing with in a place like St. Mark's.
Fox Weather's Marissa Torres. America is listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
More excellent weather as we go through our Thursday afternoon. Partly to mostly sunny skies, 78 for the high. Tonight, increasing clouds as we go through the night, 63. Friday, mostly cloudy, increasing wind. Some tropical downpours from time to time on Friday. 75 for the high. Downpours again possible Friday night and Saturday. A little better on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com talks to people about health insurance, they tell him, number 1, my premiums are too much. Number 2, my deductible is so high I never meet it. And number 3, my doctor doesn't accept my plan anymore. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA market. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible. And they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance and available all year long, so you can enroll today. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Service. If you find them online at aircomfortservice.com, you are going to be positioned to check out their heating system check offer. Since the worst of the summer heat arrived late this year, you are aware that fall is going to be around the corner. You might not be thinking quite so much yet about what your furnace is going to do for you. Is it going to keep you warm when the air outside is not keeping you warm? Reach out to them and talk to them about a heating system check. You can keep your HVAC system running efficiently all year round with routine system checks from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you reach out to them, you can find them online at aircomfortservice.com or call them at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. The Air Comfort Service maintenance plans start at only $19 a month. $19 a month, and you don't have to worry about getting ahead of what would eventually turn into being some big costly repair because you didn't take care of it. Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It's an unfortunate day, and it's a painful day. But inside of all of that, it's a day when we will finally reveal why for 10 months I have gone through this. And I look forward to defending myself and defending the people of this city as I've done throughout my entire professional career.
So the mayor of New York City indicted today. That's his response to this indictment that was read and unsealed a little bit earlier. And it's important for people to understand that he's in a bit of trouble here. I think a lot of people are questioning as to the connection to Mayor Adams's unwillingness to go along with the illegal immigration efforts, I would say, of the Biden administration. Mayor Adams pushed back on it, and you could go back and check the tapes when he was doing that. I was saying if they were going to look to replace Joe Biden for president in this election, that Mayor Adams might very well be a viable candidate to do that because he was kind of representing the American people the way the American people needed to be represented right now, which is to be advocated for over, yes, even those people who are flooding across our open borders under Kamala Harris's border czar the border czar experience that we have seen her completely mishandle. Here is the U.S. Attorney, Damian Williams, on the indictment of Mayor
As
Adams.
the indictment alleges, Mayor Adams engaged in a long-running conspiracy in which he solicited and knowingly accepted illegal campaign contributions from foreign donors and corporations. As we allege, Mayor Adams took these contributions even though he knew they were illegal. And even though he knew these contributions were attempts by a Turkish government official and Turkish businessmen to buy influence with him. We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions. These benefits included free international business class flights and opulent hotel rooms in foreign cities.
So the United States Attorney there is talking about basically the mayor of New York City has been taking favors, mostly connected to Turkey. And my understanding of the reporting so far is this is one of possibly 4 different allegations that are going to be levied towards the mayor. Very interesting. And in the wake of all of this, the obvious question is If Mayor Adams is to be removed, which can only happen by way of the governor of New York, so Governor Kathy Hochul there is the one who can make that decision. There's like a deputy mayor. That's not the person who actually fills in for that mayor should they not be able to serve. There's a position called a public advocate. That's the person who would step in.
This is pretty scary. So Jermaine Williams is a far-left radical, ally of AOC, was arrested at a pro-illegal immigration protest, ran for lieutenant governor against Kathy Hochul, and while he was campaigning said, I was first elected to publicly support Occupy Wall Street. He said, I believe most Democrats believe in democratic socialism. I am a democratic socialist. I am a democratic socialist, and the tenets of it are what most people want. And then also said, we have Trump in the White House because bigots and Nazis espouse their convictions, and the Democratic Party didn't have the courage to do the same. So he is outside he considers MAGA Republicans bigots and Nazis, and he thinks the Democratic Party is too far to the right.
And just to explain everybody why he would be in the pecking order, because he is not the deputy mayor, he is the public advocate. So we're
succeeded
talking
Letitia James in that job.
So there you have Mark Thiessen explaining the succession should Mayor Adams be removed by the governor of New York. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know how dirty Mayor Adams is. I'm going to be honest, though, that when they started listing off the things that they were charging him with, I was expecting something more than what they actually levied against him. And there is a part of me that just assumes that the right people in the right places, and by right, I don't mean anything right about it, are getting away with this type of stuff all the time. So if this is justice, if this is no one is above the law, and this is the new way forward for the American Justice Department, interesting to start at Mayor Adams' position there in New York City. But if no one's above the law, no one's above the law. Interesting to see the crime that they are willing to prosecute in New York City. And if he's corrupt, then let's have it. If he's not, he's going to fight it, and it'll be a very interesting story leading into the next 40 days of this election. The biggest story that most people are paying attention to right now is the hearing that's taking place on the assassination attempts of Donald Trump's life. Fox News reports a Pennsylvania police officer on Thursday, that's today, told lawmakers that a local operator's bullet ultimately stopped a failed assassination attempt. Shooter Thomas Crooks before the United States Secret Service fatally shot him. Adams Township Police Department, the sergeant there's testimony came Thursday morning today during a hearing before the House Trump Assassination Attempt Task Force, which has been tasked with investigating the July 13th shooting of former President Donald Trump, the first of two recent attempts against him. I'll just go ahead and read the quote here. Across the two counter-assault teams, the Quick Reaction Force, 3 sniper teams, and support personnel, we provided total manpower of 44 persons, exceeding the number requested by the Secret Service. This is a commander with the Butler County Emergency Services Unit. He said in his opening remarks, quote, at no point during the planning process was Butler County ESU asked to secure the AGR complex. At no point. Nor the perimeter surrounding that area. At no point during the planning process was Butler ESU asked to deploy a sniper team to the roof of the AGR complex. There is so much miscommunication that has taken place over the course of specifically the Butler incident, which we unfortunately have had to investigate yet a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life in the midst of still trying to get details on the first. But we have to very much so pay attention to who was told what, and were there holes that are just, is this just incompetence? Is this just, are we so negligent at the United States Secret Service level that this is what this looks like? More from Fox News. Butler County snipers inside the AGR building could not see the shooter from the roof of the AGR complex, nor was that part of their duties for the day. Lenz added. A member of the Quick Response Force, however, noticed several suspicious people in the area, one of whom turned out to be the shooter. A Beaver County sniper took a photo of the suspicious male near the AGR building and a photo of the shooter using a rangefinder pointing toward the stage, who was later identified as Crooks. This is very consequential, first and foremost, on the life of Donald Trump. And in the midst of all of the conversation about Butler County, and I mean, boy, when you hear the lefties come out and they want to insult just the teeny tiny wound that Donald Trump had on his ear, I mean, if you want to see hatred in action, if you want to see hatred walking and talking, look at people who make those comments about Donald Trump's injury when a bullet grazed his head. They'll even be like, it wasn't his head, it was his ear. I mean, that's the manifestation of what hate looks like, embodied in people who despise this man in many ways. I think they don't even understand why they hate him. They just know that they're supposed to. These people are so disgusted with him that they excuse an attempt on this man's life. But in the midst of all of this, in the midst of everything that we discuss, we have to remember that there was a man who did lose his life that day. That there was a death that day by a stray bullet that was meant for Donald Trump. That's what's at stake here. Every time people talk about a close call in Butler County, it wasn't a close call for somebody else who just showed up because they support Donald Trump. And yes, the rhetoric of constantly talking about how dangerous Donald Trump is instills the crazies out there to do crazy things. And people have died because of it. And it's unacceptable. In turn, it's affecting the future of this campaign and this election season.
In fact, we have a new whistleblower report tonight, Jesse. Whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Trump campaign and the Secret Service and their interactions tell us that the Secret Service recently told the Trump campaign they could not secure a rally for Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting because it directly contradicts what the Secret Service Director, BREW, said last week when he said, Trump is getting exactly the same level of protection as Kamala Harris and the sitting president. Really, because Kamala Harris just held a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am told by a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the situation that Secret Service says that Trump should not and could not have a rally in Wisconsin because Secret Service could not protect him and adequately staff it. This calls into question, Jesse, what they're saying about staffing. It calls into question what they're saying about parity between Harris and Trump. And once again, it underscores the fact they're not telling us the whole truth.
There's your Senator, Josh Hawley, reacting to this whistleblower. He seems to have had quite a few conversations with them. The push against Donald Trump, the attempt to try to keep him standing still, to keep him hidden, to the extent that his life is being threatened, it should scare every American. We know that there are people in the world who want Donald Trump dead, and they're foreign adversaries. Iran has said as much. Iran has wanted him dead for some time. Iran would curse the day that Donald Trump is elected back into office. And there's one way that Iran can handle this problem before Election Day, and Donald Trump's life is worthy of ultimate protection. Doesn't it speak to the American people how much Iran, who is behind all of the funding of the discord in the Middle East right now, without the money coming through Iran, the Middle East is not capable of being this violent right now. Israel is a safer place. Why is it that Iran is so invested, literally invested, in a Kamala Harris presidency?
The Iranians are hacked into President Trump's campaign account, his legal team's account, sharing the information with the American media to undermine our election. We've done nothing about it. At the end of the day, we know they're trying to assassinate President Trump, Pompeo, Brian Hook, Robert O'Brien, and we're doing nothing about it. What are the consequences to a foreign government interfering in our election when it comes to Donald Trump? Nothing. That's unacceptable. So what did the UN General Assembly do with the largest state sponsor of terrorism, a man who's a country trying to kill President Trump, hacking into his campaign? They invited an Iranian representative to speak to the UN General Assembly today. You can't make it up. Biden spoke to the UN General Assembly and talked about the winds of change. The winds of change are a fire created by Joe Biden. This is unacceptable to the Biden administration. You owe it to the American people to punish Iran for trying to undermine our election.
Another senator, Lindsey Graham, looking to punish Iran. I know what people are going to say about that, but having Iran in check, having Iran understand their place in the world where they don't get to run roughshod over the entire Middle East to fund terror across the Middle East and knowing that there are people in our country right now that wish us ill because our borders have been left open by Biden and Kamala Harris, we have a lot of problems on our hands. We talk about the economy. It's a huge deal. It's probably the biggest deal. But knowing what is taking place in the world and how it has gotten its way into our country, how the people who want to represent us, who want to earn our votes, are not safe, and the massive, epic failure by the United States Secret Service to secure Donald Trump as their protectee, with Keystone Cop behavior out there, the massive failure has everybody asking questions. And the more that they stonewall and refuse to provide detailed answers, the more people fill in the blanks, which is why truth always matters, why journalism is important, and why the death of journalism will be the death of this country. Because the pursuit of truth has to be above all other things. The American people have to know what the truth is so that they can act accordingly when they choose and fire their representatives. What is going on at the United States Secret Service? I think it's a huge question that many of us would like to know the answer to. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats? We're 40 days out from the election right now. Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? Do you think that the Democrats would be doing better right now if they had Joe Biden in, or was Kamala Harris the right move for the Democratic Party? I think you can look at a lot of polls and see where Kamala Harris is right now. The question is, of course, as always, do you believe them? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, come say hi in the YouTube live chat, and vote. The poll is located right there. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Ruler Foods is celebrating you because when you learn about Ruler Foods and they get to know you, I was talking to so many people yesterday, and many of them have just enjoyed being able to go to Ruler Foods to save money at Ruler Foods. It's an important thing to find a place that you can trust. The grocery cart that you're shopping with, you want to make sure you can fill it with food that you trust, that you love, and you don't want to overpay for it. That's where Ruler Foods comes in. They have a 10 for $10 sale right now. Absolutely love these. Michelinas dinners, 10 for $10. That's a really, really great opportunity for you to grab those lunches and do it for a low price of $1 a piece, 10 for 10. Bar S. Frank's, Kroger Ketchup, and Kroger Mustard, all 10 for 10. You can also enjoy Big K 2 liters or 17-ounce sparkling ice. 10 for $10. And Van Camp's pork and beans or Brooks chili beans, it's coming to be that time. 10 for $10. You can schedule delivery online as well from your Ruler Foods, the one that's closest to you. Or if you're looking to go shop around the store to see what they have, you can find all the details you need, including the latest ad on all of the latest savings at rulerfoods.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
There's still a debate between now and Election Day, and it's this Tuesday. The vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance.
Democracy 2024.
Listen to the debate here, Tuesday night on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. So Fox News is reporting that the feds have seized Eric Adams' phone after the New York City mayor's indictments. There's a lot going on in New York City, and we go to our legal expert to get to the bottom of it. Hans von Spakovsky joins us once again, senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former FEC commissioner and DOJ lawyer. Hans, what a day. This time, a legal case in New York City that isn't about Donald Trump. Good to have you back.
Yeah, isn't that something? I just finished reading the indictment, over 50 pages against Adams, and let me tell you, these are very serious charges. 5 criminal counts, and it charges everything from bribery to wire fraud to his solicitation and acceptance of campaign contributions from foreign nationals. And if you go through it, what you find is that, in particular, a Turkish government official, he's referred to as a senior official in the Turkish diplomatic corps, started doing things like arranging free travel on the Turkish airline. And the free travel was such that he, Adams, and his companions, as they're referred to, they didn't just go to Turkey. They went to France, China, Sri Lanka, India, Hungary, and Turkey. Not only that, but they arranged free or heavily discounted hotel rooms in luxury hotels, great meals in high-end restaurants, etc. The indictment, I've never actually seen this before, and the indictment has photos of both, for example, the bedroom and the bathroom of the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul, which they arranged for Adams to use for less than $100. You know how much that suite normally costs per day?
More than $100?
$7,000.
Oh.
$7,000.
It's the deal of the century. Hans von Spakovsky with us right now. I'm just going to be honest. In what we have seen with a lot of politicians who end up getting confronted with the law, it's usually pretty salacious. It's usually pretty dramatic. And this looks like corruption to its core. But, I think that I errantly have a assumption that there's just some of this going on with all high-level politicos that are out there, and if you're among the right people, you tend to get away with it. There are people who are suggesting that Mayor Adams ticked off the Biden administration with his immigration stance. How long do we know that these investigations, if you know the answer to this question, have been going on? Is there a long timeline to this?
Yeah, there is, and I don't think this has anything to do with. I don't think this has anything to do with him ticking them off about immigration. This started in 2014 when he became the Brooklyn Borough president, where he sought and accepted luxury international travel. And look, part of it is not just that he was getting money from foreign sources, but listen, the indictment is filled with intercepts of emails, text messages, indicating that Adams himself was directly involved in trying to hide all of this so that no one would find out about it. And the folks who were paying him illegally, giving him contributions, so forth, they weren't doing it just because they liked him. They were doing it because they wanted to get something in exchange. And one of the examples they give is that the Turkish official went to Adams and said, hey, we're opening up our new Turkish consular building, and we want it to be open in time for the Turkey president's visit, and we want you to talk to the New York Fire Department and tell them to forego doing a fire inspection so the building will be open. If, in fact, a fire inspection had been done, the building would have failed and it would not have been open. And Adams did exactly what the Turks wanted him to do, and the fire official who was responsible for inspecting the building was told he would lose his job if he did not agree to do this, and the building was opened.
Isn't that funny how that works? We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky right now. I mean, it seems like classic corruption and, a high-level official using their position to jockey for their own personal gain. Do you see this being a long, drawn-out process? Are we in the first inning of a very, very long game here?
I think we're in the first inning of a long game, but I think one of the reasons for that is this trial is going to take quite a while if Adams doesn't agree, to plead guilty with some kind of deal. Because, look, the indictment itself, like I said, it's over 50 pages.
Yeah.
And this went on for many years, and so there is going to be a lot of evidence produced by the government in this case. By the way, if folks are wondering, well, this is a mayor, how does the federal government, for example, have any jurisdiction over campaign contributions going to a local campaign? Well, it's because there is a federal law that prohibits foreign nationals, foreign governments from spending, contributing, donating money, not just in federal elections, but also state and local elections. So when Adams, as alleged, was soliciting foreign contributions, he was violating federal law.
Well, we're going to watch it closely and hope that justice is served there in New York. There's a couple of things that I want to talk to you about, so we're going to shift gears here. Donald Trump's legal team is in New York right now making an argument on that massive, what was it, like $400 million payout or whatever that's gaining interest each and every day. Can you just give us a summary of what's taking place with the Trump legal team today in New York City?
Well, they are appealing the decision by Judge Merchan that where he decided that, in fact, Donald Trump and his company had defrauded companies and banks who had lent him money, despite the fact that none of the banks complained, none of the individuals who lent money complained. In fact, all of them had their loans paid back with interest. And there were so many problems with what the judge did in that case. Not only his unethical conduct and even remaining in the case, but his constant rulings in the case against Trump and in favor of the attorney general that did not allow Trump to get in basic evidence that would show that he was innocent of these charges. And those are all the claims being argued today before the New York Court of Appeals and trying to convince them that they should overturn this verdict.
Well, we'll be watching that one closely as well. I wanted to shift gears a little bit. Since we have you and you work with the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025 could never have paid for the type of publicity that it has gotten in this election cycle because of the Democrats. The Democrats have seized on it. I think anytime you can come up with a one-word or two-word name for a boogeyman in politics, if you can make it stick, that's a very valuable thing. They've taken Project 2025. Right. They've assessed it as Donald Trump's blueprint for what he's going to do in his presidency. Donald Trump has really pushed it away at arm's length and says he hasn't even read it yet. But the Democrats have not missed an opportunity to try to put a tent on that circus and push it and sell tickets as much as they possibly can.
Well, that's true. But actually, I got to tell you, two things have happened. One, it has caused a lot of people, I think, to actually go to the Project 2025 website and read our policy proposals. And the response we're hearing is extremely positive. People read it and think, wait a minute, this is common sense. This is the way the government ought to be run. And the other thing that has happened is, look, the mainstream, the left-stream media, as Rush used to call it, as you know, they are very much in favor of Kamala Harris. They're almost running a campaign for her. But even those media sources, from CNN on, all of them these days do supposed fact checks. And if you go to the website, you'll find all these fact checks, even by liberal organizations like CNN, admitting that the claims being made by Kamala Harris about Project 2025 are false.
Yeah, I mean, it always requires people to do a little extra research or a little educating of their own, as opposed to listening to either side of the echo chambers that exist in politics. Say everything here is good and everything here is bad, but I mean, it's not really. It shouldn't come as a shock to people who are paying attention to politics that those people super engaged on the far left would be appalled by Project 2025 because it's limited government. It's conservative constitutional government. And naturally, those people are disgusted by that.
Yeah, they don't like the idea that the power of the bureaucracies within all these executive departments would be reduced, would be limited, and would the total intent is to prevent them from going outside the bounds of what they're supposed to be doing and interfering in the everyday lives and professions of Americans.
Yeah, a lot of work needs to be done here, but I really wonder how rapidly Donald Trump is going to pick up Project 2025 if he were to get elected, and the conservative principles that he would enact in many cases are likely congruent from a lot of the suggestions that are made in Project 2025. But you can quickly separate the people who are just there for the political carnival barking that don't spend much time actually reading the things like Project 2025. They actually really need you to not read Project 2025 in order for their argument to stick.
Well, that's very true. And I'd be willing to bet you that, for example, not a single one of the Hollywood celebrities who actually also come out and criticize Project 2025, I bet you not a single one has actually read a single word of the policy proposals.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Hans, we appreciate you. Busy day as always. We always look forward to your expertise. Thanks for being with us. Oops, there he went. I leaned over and pushed the button a little bit too soon. Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow for the Heritage Foundation, a former FEC Commissioner and a DOJ lawyer. Check out his book. It's a good one to read right now while we are in campaign season, 40 days until the election begins. His book is How the Left Changed the Way You Vote. And, oh, by the way, Illinois, you can go early vote today. We're going to have Jay Keevan on at 2:05, a rare 2 o'clock interview with my friend Jay Keevan. Jay Keevan, if you don't remember who he is, remember that one time where we went out and we got signatures at the very last minute because the Democrats in the state of Illinois were working very hard on trying to keep an opponent off of the ballot for Katie Stewart? Remember when Katie Stewart supported that bill to not have an opponent in her own election? Isn't that something? Why would a state house representative, Katie Stewart, the Democrat who's been representing the Madison County area for maybe 3 terms now, I think 3 terms, why would she actively support a bill that says, no, we're going to not allow an opponent to be slated, as they have always done before, not allow opponent to be slated in her election? That's what she was in favor of. That sounds like a threat to democracy or something. I don't know if that's the right application of that, keeping people from being able to run against you. It seems strange. Jay Keevan, super nice guy, law enforcement, decades in law enforcement. He's a public servant. He is not a politician. He is a genuine man, and he is going to come in and talk to us at 2 o'clock, and I'm looking forward to having him in here. And if you've got questions about the Illinois State Legislature, you can feed them to us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. And also, today early voting starts, so get your tush over to the county seat or wherever you go to early vote and start casting your ballot and getting other people to go with you. The time is now. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
So let's talk about Lutheran education. Let's talk about sending your children or helping send your grandchildren to a school that is going to teach them about right and wrong, teach them about forgiveness, teach them about Jesus, but also excel when it comes to teaching your child at whatever level they are in English and math and science and all of the things that you want your kids to excel at when they're in school. Because when you have a Lutheran education, you can get straight to the point of learning. There's not a lot of those other distractions that take place in some other schools. Lutheran education provides you the education that you've always wanted for your child or for your grandchild, and it's affordable. It's affordable. It's accessible. Go online to lisastl.org/Annie, LESASTL.org/Annie, and check it out for yourself. Athletics, music, different types of STEM opportunities, robotics classes, choir, and so on and so forth. The opportunities are so large for your child or for your grandchild. You just need to start the conversation. And it's not too late to enroll. With 37 elementary schools in the St. Louis, Illinois, Missouri area, high schools located here as well. Start the conversation. Educate yourself quietly in the comfort of your own home or on your phone right now. It's LISA, which is Lutheran Elementary School Association, LESASTL.org/Annie.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, October 1st at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned how this coming election can affect the stock market and your retirement? Would you like to have a personalized structured income plan that shows you the monthly income you can receive and how to never outlive it?
Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any more losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss the last event of the year. Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, October 1st at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You know Diamonds Direct for their exquisite diamonds and fine jewelry. What about luxury watches? With a handpicked collection by the industry's top timepiece experts, skip the waiting list and get the timepiece you've been eyeing right away. And this month only, enjoy 0% interest for 5 years on all the top brands. Imagine owning a $15,000 luxury watch for just $250 a month. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct, where you can shop direct for diamonds and watches.
I want you to think about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as candidates. The YouTube live chat poll today is which of those two candidates would be a greater liability for the Democrats, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? Let us know by logging on to YouTube, typing in Annie Fry. The Annie Fry Show stream will come up, and that is where you can vote and leave comments, just as usual. 12:42, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra will be at Enterprise Center December 18th. Get the best seats by getting your tickets in September for this Christmas season. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, December 18th, 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Crickets are singing and lightning bugs are floating on the breeze. Baby, get ready. Across the field where the creek turns back by the old stumble road, I'm gonna take you to a special place that nobody knows.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! Okay, I'll admit I came up with this idea as something that was supposed to be kind of fun and funny and light, and then I started reading it and thought, this is actually really good advice. So I apologize that this took a turn into the real.
You can tell us what it is?
Things you need to give up after 40. Now, it doesn't mean right at 40 or in your 40s. You can give it up if you're in your 50s or 60s, too.
What if you're 38?
If you're 38, you need to hang on to these things.
Okay. Not my problem.
once you hear them, you're going to go, no, you don't need to hang on to that. But it is stuff that they say once you get to 40 or above, it's stuff that you really should consider letting go of. The first one is letting go of the need for approval. Stepping into your 40s, you might start to feel tired of trying to make everyone else happy. The language is whatever, but time to start being your own biggest fan. And here's how. But the approval thing is one that, in my opinion, isn't even something that I've had to really try to let go of. Just the older you get, the less you care. Am I wrong?
You still care.
I'm not saying I don't care at all.
Here's the difference, though, because I don't disagree with you caring. I don't know enough about your life outside of here. You should care wholeheartedly about the people who matter, but there are so few people who matter.
Yes. And caring about them doesn't look like constantly needing their approval.
Just if you do something and those people are proud of you, that will make you feel prouder of yourself. If you do something and it disappoints those people, you're going to feel bad inside and you're going to want to rectify it. But the point that I'm making is there are so few people on the face of the planet, less than 20 probably, who should be able to have that big of an effect and an influence on your life.
I agree. I'm surprised you put that bar at 20 because it seems like it would be even less than that.
I was thinking like 5, but I thought most people would probably be a lot more than that.
I don't know. As much as I just took a guy's trip with some very, very good old friends of mine that I've been friends with for a long time.
80, 90?
Yeah, they're old friends. Yeah. They were in their 50s when I was in high school, and we just got along.
They keep you young.
Yeah. So, no, it's all guys that are my age, and we've been living life, and they live in different parts of the country now. We get together about once a year for this thing. And as much as we used to kind of like, and I don't know if this is like a good thing or a bad thing, but as much as we used to joke constantly, like we would try to make each other laugh, there was this kind of competitive nature to making each other laugh. We got to the point now where we'll still do that a little bit, but we just don't care. And like there's a little bit of a loss there, but there's a comfort in just letting go of that. Next one. Breaking free from negative self-talk.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Do men do that?
This guy doesn't really do that. This guy has 2 thumbs and doesn't do that.
Some do.
This guy is awesome. This guy's the coolest guy I know.
To an extent, I'm sure everybody does this a little bit. It's not something that I've really struggled with.
Yeah, some guys do. I don't really do it all that often, but, it's... you call it like negative self-talk, it's like, that was stupid. I hear it a lot on the golf course with guys. I mean, that
doesn't count.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's where it'll most
fair enough.
No,
yeah.
We're talking about like when you're sitting at your desk and you're doing work and you hate yourself for whatever particular reason, or you're, getting ready in the morning and you're shaving or something like that.
Yeah.
Are you having negative thoughts about yourself?
You're doing up your faux hawk and you're like, ugh. This looks terrible. Why am I even trying this?
I hope so.
My faux hawk looks bad because it's basically just in the back now. This isn't something. I know that this is something that a lot of people work on regularly because it's their natural inclination to say negative things about either their environment or themselves to themselves that nobody else is hearing.
Have you ever seen Mean Girls?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a great movie. It's a documentary, as I always refer to as my favorite documentary. But there's the part where these girls are all in Regina George's bedroom, and they're all standing they're the it girls of the high school, and they're all standing in front of the mirror, and they're all like taking turns looking in the mirror, talking crap on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all turn and they look at Caddy, is that her name?
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, whatever. And they all look at her, and she's like, I have really bad breath in the morning. But I mean, it's pressed into women that you are supposed to self-loathe. And there's a part where you realize that it's completely not productive and that nobody cares about the things that you care obsessively about. Nobody cares about them like you do. Or in most cases doesn't even see the things that you don't like about yourself the way other people do. But it's a super hard habit to break. I think women would struggle with this one way more than men. but I think it's a good advice.
I would agree with that. I've heard pastors say before, just as life advice, everybody's pretty selfish, and everybody's so selfish that you don't really have to worry about yourself so much because everybody else is thinking about just themselves.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, that's pretty true. Number 3, releasing the fear of change. Being brave when facing new things and building your strength by taking big changes one small step at a time, remembering the times you succeeded before, which is part of age, and how you've managed to adjust.
You like change?
I like it in increments. It's got to be, there has to be something new happening, but if it's too much at once, it gets overwhelming. But if there's none of it, it gets boring.
I hate endings.
Fair?
I, every time, forget that there's a beginning after an ending. I hate
that. That's kind of what this is speaking to.
Yeah.
Is be okay with change. Maybe look at the positive in the ending. You're thinking about your kids, aren't you? Whenever they hit a milestone.
No, I'm thinking about losing people in my life.
Like not
death.
You're thinking about death. Okay. Because what is the new beginning after death? That's one that I'm not sure what I would say to myself.
There's life after death. I mean,
Okay.
there's if you lose somebody who you love, the world keeps spinning, the sun keeps coming up. There are still people who are happy to see you and need you, and you have to keep going. And you can be joyful about that, even though you're still sad. But like the finite truth of basically everything is haunting to me, and I have to constantly try to either not think about it at all, because I'll just get in a loop about it, but also understand that there's going to be something next. Like if you lose a loved one, for instance, my husband and I got married in September of 2007. He lost his grandma in July of 2007. And it was sad that it happened like that. It's like you wanted it to happen. You wanted to be able to experience that with everybody. There is sadness that exists there. But there are other things to celebrate afterwards, and you can miss the celebrations because you're too wrapped up in the thing that no matter how much you worry about it or hurt about it, it's still over. It's still done. So you have to kind of learn to accept it and be okay being sad about it, and like understand and hold on to the sadness as a real, honest, legitimate feeling, and say, I don't have to let go of completely being sad to also be able to be happy about the next thing. Because I think sometimes, especially after the death of a close loved one, I think people feel bad for feeling good about something because of the mourning that they're in. And that transition is a difficult one to do, but it's important.
Weird diversion here, but you know who else struggled with the finiteness of everything, and it was included in almost all of his works? Rod Serling, Twilight Zone. If you watch the original Twilight Zone, like all of his episodes have to do with something about aging or things ending. It was a common theme. Next one, quitting procrastination. I'm going to link that with a later one that says abandoning unrealistic expectations. Because to me, those two things are linked. If you're procrastinating, a lot of times the reason you are is because you don't think it's going to turn out well, or gosh, this is going to be a long journey. Let go of the expectations. And this is something I'm still learning right now. I'm always wanting to achieve something that's probably beyond what I'm able to, especially with like writing and some of the things that my life goals have been. And I'm having to just say, you know what, let's just let it be. I'm still going to write for fun. It may not become what I want it to be. Abandon the unrealistic expectations and get to work. Any thoughts? No. You turned on your mic to shake your head.
I was thinking about it, and it's like, no. For me, though, who has time to procrastinate?
Yeah, at this stage of life, you really don't.
Yeah, and I'm actually even sitting here thinking back to like this moment in time in my life, because there's so much going on at work right now, and then so much that I got going on at home that there's no such thing as procrastination. It's just there's not enough time in the day to do what I need to do.
You procrastinate?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you procrastinating, though? What is it that you're like, I'll do that later?
Whatever I don't want to do.
Anything.
I mean, like, I don't have extra time, but that doesn't mean I'm not putting things off. Like, the idea that you can know that you have something that is kind of burning that hole and trying to remind you, hello, you need to do this, and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, and then naturally it becomes a bigger problem that you should have just dealt with and prioritized over something else. But I am a procrastinator. I don't like that about me. The things that matter in my life, like the things that usually when I procrastinate, is stuff that has to do with just me. Like the consequences fall on me, not on other people. Because then nobody ever checks me on it.
You know what I don't do quickly is mundane paperwork. I tend to procrastinate that.
It's a perfect example.
It's just awful. It's like I know
Do you have
I
a
gotta
pile of paperwork somewhere, or like a phone call that you have to make to just clear something up?
Yes, and it's nothing ever that's super important. I would make a claim on
it would
some
take
random
you 7 minutes to complete
whatever, and I'm just like,
but
ugh.
it's like I might as well have to scale an unscalable wall.
Yes, there's always a pile of that stuff.
Yes.
Letting go of grudges and
You're like,
past
oops,
hurts.
I spilled stuff all over it.
Oh no, I can't do it anymore.
What was that last one?
Letting go of grudges and past hurts.
That's difficult.
This isn't really something that's specific to being 40, but I think it's a nod to becoming more mature.
At 40, it's about parents. I bet it's about familial situations.
Okay.
Because at 40, I mean, you're old enough that you're completely your own person, and your parents are now senior citizens, and there are things that are not worth holding on to at that point any longer. You gotta be able to move on from those things. You might have a divorce.
Yeah, you've got some life under your belt at that point that you're gonna have hurts 100%. Last one, giving up the myth of perfection. Just letting go of, it's weird because you get to this point where you go, I wanted my life to look like this. It never will. Nobody's vision of their life is ever going to become exactly what they want it to be. But you have to sort of accept that you are where you are.
Just to be realistic.
Yeah.
About everything. That's not always fun. But it is helpful. When we come back, Tyrus is going to join us. Deroy Murdock also moved him off of our diaper drive day yesterday, which was such a great success. Thank you to everybody who participated. So stick around. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? What do you think? I'm surprised it's as close as it is. We'll be right back.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the bagel loan, and Stewie and the bagel loan is the place where you go to have zero closing costs. That means when you go to get your mortgage refinance, or if you're getting that mortgage for the first time, that you don't pay any closing cost to get that process done. This could save you thousands of dollars, folks. This is a no-brainer. I have refied twice with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. I trust him to understand exactly what the market is doing, to be great at anticipating what's going to happen next, and putting me in the position to have the best financial outcome. He will do the same for you, the exact same for you. But let me give you his personal cell phone number. You can call this number. You can text this number, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call Stewie and ask him about a bagel loan for you today. For your new home purchase, for your mortgage refinance, get one of those lower rates. He's waiting on your phone call or your text. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
To underestimate Hurricane Helene. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That warning from FEMA Administrator Diane Criswell.
The entire state of Florida is under some type of warning right now, whether that's a hurricane warning or a tropical storm warning.
Right now, a Category 2 storm, but still gathering strength over warm Gulf waters ahead of a possible landfall tonight in northwest Florida.
Hurricane Helene is bringing a storm surge, the worst of which will be along part of the Florida Panhandle coastline, where emergency managers have been urging people to evacuate.
You got to do it now. You have time to get to a shelter, but you got to do it now.
Governor Ron DeSantis speaking at the state's Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee. That storm surge could be as high as 20 feet in some spots. Helene will also bring wind, rain, and risks of tornadoes.
Fox's Evan Brown. Other parts of the southeast already being impacted with tropical storm force winds extending some 400 miles from that storm's center. The White House says the indictment of the New York City mayor is being handled independently by the Justice Department after Mayor Eric Adams suggested he's being targeted over criticism of Biden immigration policies.
And I look forward to defending myself and defending the people of this city.
Federal prosecutors say Adams took bribes and illegal campaign contributions from foreign nationals in exchange for favors, including helping Turkish officials bypass a fire inspection for a new diplomatic facility. That corruption probe continues, along with several possibly separate probes of senior aides and others. The city's police commissioner and school chief resigning in recent weeks. The U.S. and multiple allies urging a 21-day truce between Israel and Hezbollah.
Open up space for diplomacy to achieve a deal that allows civilians on both sides of the border to return to their homes safely and securely.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre, as Israel so far rejects that proposal. America is listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
More excellent weather as we go through our Thursday afternoon. Partly to mostly sunny skies, 78 for the high. Tonight, increasing clouds as we go through the night, 63. Friday, mostly cloudy, increasing wind. Some tropical downpours from time to time on Friday. 75 for the high. Downpours again possible Friday night and Saturday. A little better on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I am incredibly excited to welcome a new sponsor onto the Annie Fry Show, one that is going to help you in a way that you've been putting off. We were talking about procrastinating. This is the way that people are procrastinating, and it's very, very perilous. Civia Law. If you go to civialaw.com, you will learn more about Civia Law, SIVIA law.com. But they can help you with your wills, your trusts, and your powers of attorney. They have a 2-week turnaround of completed documents from the initial time that you sit down. If you call 833-995-WILL, that's 833-995-WILL, you're going to be connected to one of the offices that Civia Law has. They are in both Missouri and Illinois. They're in Edwardsville, Wentzville, East Alton, Swansea. They're in Mount Vernon. Help you get your strategy session booked today so that you can have that 2-week turnaround and that thing that's kind of been lurking about, oh, I don't know, should we do a trust? Do we have our powers of attorney executed the way we want them to be? Don't put this off any longer. It's affordable. And like I said, you get that booking, that appointment on the books right now, a 2-week turnaround, and you are taken care of. Think of the peace of mind that you will enjoy when you partner with Civia Law, these wonderful people now sponsoring the Annie Fry Show. I encourage you to give them a call today and see what they can do for you. Get that appointment on the books. 833-995-WILL. Book your strategy session by calling 833-995-WILL or visit them online. It's SIVIA, civialaw.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Max Shows presents the St. Charles Gun Show. Celebrate the Second Amendment at the premier gun show in the region. Shop hundreds of tables with thousands of guns, knives, military surplus, tactical gear, and more. See one-of-a-kind antique weapons, new product demonstrations, and thousands of accessories. For the largest selection of rifles, handguns, and more, you gotta go to the gun show this Saturday and Sunday at the St. Charles Convention Center. Visit MaxShows.com. That's MaxShows.com.
There's still a debate between now and Election Day, and it's this Tuesday. The vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. Democracy 2024. Listen to the debate here, Tuesday night on 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday afternoon. Kamala Harris did an interview yesterday on MSNBC, and she's got some new tricks in her bag, and she brought them, I think, just one new trick.
Looking holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Holistically, Tyrus, we're happy to have you back. Thanks for being here with us today.
Always a pleasure.
What do you make of Kamala Harris? She's doing the same. There's never a new thing. Kamala Harris every time is word salad, no details, and we get the same thing each and every time she gets the opportunity to talk?
Well, it is what she's not saying is what she's saying. I think that what we've seen for the last 3.5 years is her plan. It is there. Joe Biden wasn't making those decisions. We just saw him on The View where he had to be coached to talk well about himself. They said bug, he slapped the table.
Yeah.
They thought it was clever. I thought it was a cry for help. So she's not going to say anything new because as far as they're concerned, with she's a progressive, as most progressive with a capital P as you can get. The cabinet was made to her liking, progressive picks, DEI hires. This has been her administration with, I guess, Pelosi calling the shots. So she can't say what she's not about, and she is about, but it's unpopular. They think they know better than the American people do. Yeah. They think they know better than everyone who's struggling in their house right now, deciding between electric bill and car payments and everything else that Americans are going through right now. But the progressive plan is exactly what it is, and she's going to do this for another 4 years if she's elected. And then, but she'll say anything at this point because they're losing, they're panicking. So they're trying to say, like, oh, they're going to be the same choices as Trump, except it's not Trump, so you'd vote for her. That's their plan, is to try to say they're going to do the same thing Trump is doing without Trump, even though it's all, we know what it is.
Tyrus, I've heard you say multiple times, specifically on Gutfeld, that you don't think that this election is going to be close. Do you think that...
No, this election isn't close at all.
Do you think that the Harris camp is, shocked by the fact that it's not close or that people aren't more into her?
Well, this is why they're doing what they're doing. This is why the scrambling. This is why all the surrogates are out arguing and attacking President Trump, and even to the fact that they're continuing to ramp up the rhetoric against him, considering there's been 2 attempts on his life, because they're losing. They're so far behind that this is where we're at with them. It's not a close election. Used to be people would say like, "Oh, hey, I love what you do on Fox, but I can't say anything." People, I just was in the Chicago airport. They're yelling at me from across the like, "Tyrus, what it is? We love Fox." So it's It's not the same vibe. Mm-hmm. I compare this election. This is the same thing as the Mulvaney Bud Light situation where they got away with their stuff until the actual Americans who work for a living, who don't watch news all day, who don't sit on Instagram and social media all day, said, "Oh no, we're not buying this anymore." And within a day, Bud Light was done for. Still hasn't recovered. So you got the attention of the working American people, and there has not been any situation where I'm seeing Kamala Harris bumper stickers and everything else. She can't do an event without it being a major celebrity there. She was on Oprah. That should have stole the night, but it didn't. It was President Trump on the Gutfeld show that stole the night.
Yeah.
The ratings don't lie. So again, whereas before that would have been the other way around. So I think it sounds good to get people to tune in to this polling stuff, but this election is not. I don't think it's close at all, and I think they know it too. That's why you're seeing a lot of the big guns are doing less and less, and they're writing group letters. I mean, not being endorsed by the Teamsters. There's enough stuff going on that if you just take a look at it, and I think the American feeling across the board is we've seen enough here. I think that's the catchphrase.
Do you feel, Tyrus, like, with the whole Bud Light thing and the Dylan Mulvaney thing and this election, I really wonder if America over the last, it's probably 15, 20 years. It might go back to Obama, 2008, when everyone got jazzed over hope and change. Do you feel like over that course of time, America has shifted their opinions, when you want to talk about things that are woke, or did our patience just finally run out? I have a philosophy that Americans are nicer. They don't want to really offend people, but you push them to the brink and then they'll show up to defend themselves or what they love. But I don't know which one it is here. Did we change our minds, or are we just no longer dealing with it?
In my opinion, I think it was whenever somebody brings something to the table in this country claiming that they've been wronged or they're, not represented enough, or whatever their issue is, the American culture will embrace them and be like, what can we do for you? And you will see a genuine effort from everyday people to incorporate whatever group it is that's claiming wrongdoing. And that's kind of the thing that makes America different. And what we saw was a prostitution of that, to where they were seeing how long they could push limits, how long they could go after people, canceling people, this fake outrage, the virtue signaling. And a lot of Americans just like, well, we need to be better. Because when you throw things like everyone's a racist, and you throw things like everyone's misogynistic, and you do all these things, the first thing the average person wants to do is to separate themselves from that. So they kind of get almost a grace period of where they're able to do this stuff. And like I said, I think it ran about 3 years of it. And then eventually, wait a minute, how many times are you going to cry woke before we were like, hey, this is BS, this is not a real thing? And that's what we're seeing now, like the woke thing and the fake outrage and the print. And it was all just basically a gross prostitution of democratic policy, so individuals could make committees and load their pockets with fact-finding committees for reparations and stuff like that, which was all a joke. It's just all stealing American taxpayers' dollars to put in a few pockets of the woke. It's just like a shady church where the reverend drives a Cadillac and everyone else has to share a Kia. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the same thing. And I think America's like, and eventually we catch up to it, and they're like, enough. No, hell no, we're not doing this anymore. And as rightfully as they should, blaming people for stuff they had nothing to do with, just random, just pulling stuff out of the air and saying that, you're affected and slavery affected you and you live in 2024. No, that slavery is not affecting you. You're lazy and you're creative, but it's not. You're not. These adverse effects is not from slavery. It's from being spoiled, having too much of the American good life.
Yeah. Tyrus with us right now. You know him as a regular on Gutfeld. He's a Fox News contributor. You also absolutely should check out his latest book, Nuff Said. His first book was just Tyrus. You should read them both. But Nuff Said is out right now. Tyrus, I wanted to ask you about the Diddy situation and what your thoughts are on that. I think a lot of people don't know what to make of it. And anytime there's a lot of information that's not being shared, a lot of people want to fill in a lot of the gaps. But Diddy seems to be in a pretty bad way right now. Suicide watch.
In a tight spot. This is probably the one time where the baby oil might help.
Yeah. I see what you did there. What are your thoughts on the next, I don't know, 3, 6, 12 months of the Diddy story? Are we going to get answers?
The bigger story. Well, the answers are when how many victims want to come forward, or how many people that have been affected want to come forward. I think the bigger issue is all the willing participants. Diddy is sitting exactly where he should be. Never liked him. The few times I interacted with him were never good. I wouldn't let him in a VIP section of a club I was working at. And not just because I didn't like his baby teeth, because that was just something about his teeth just felt off. He just seemed like a beady-eyed, mean guy, so I never really liked him, and I was right in that approach. But it's the bodyguards, the managers, the other celebrities. They knew exactly what was going on. They were complacent in it, and that bothers me. So I think probably what he'll do is, because if he had any integrity, he wouldn't have done the things that he has done. He'll start telling on everybody, and people are worried about the wrong things. Regardless of whether he's telling or not, he should be held accountable. Now, everyone should be heard, and then it's up to courts to prove it. But it's pretty damning, the stuff and he videotaped most of it. So I think we'll get a good look at it. But again, it goes back to, and you hate to bring this up, but it seems that the social deviance and the disgusting behavior seems to be okay if you're on the left. As long as you're one of their guys, it seems to be okay until you get caught, and then all this outrage. But I pay attention to a lot of these CEOs of different companies that are resigning, probably because they're on those videotapes. I would be guesstimating. Why else would you? I think. But again, this just goes back to how bad the left has been corrupted by these progressive behaviors and the sex trafficking clans and these groups of power, the men that think they're powerful by holding carrots of money over people's, making them, forcing them, or asking them to do things. I think that in itself is terrible, but the people involved, is not just him. It's a bigger thing. A guy like Diddy isn't able to do what he does unless he has people helping him do it.
Well,
just like Epstein's wife is sitting in jail, there should be a couple other people that are involved. And I think when we start to see things come out, we're going to be shocked, but not too shocked and not surprised. But a lot of these celebrities that claim to be about people aren't who they are and what they say they are. And again, the fact that these accusations are daunting. Like I said, I've always been like, one person makes an accusation, they should be heard, but you can make an argument, over a course, usually to the history. But when the level of things he had, the arrogance to record things, the 785 sex toys and 2 metric tons of baby oil. I mean, it's just shockingly terrible that this was okay. These aren't things, you don't hide these things.
Yeah.
These were in plain sight. His staff knew about it. His managers knew about it. His people who work with him knew about it. The people in relation. I mean, this was not a man who was like a secret society. So I'll be very interested to see how much of this is tried to be covered away, because right now the acting the group that's in charge right now is the left in the White House. I'll be very curious to see how Diddy is treated in these next few months, because I think some of the people that are going to be on these lists and on these names and in these parties, we're really going to be like, wow, you thought you knew somebody. So
do you feel?
I think that's the big scary thing.
You're the closest connection I'm probably going to get on this show to the rap industry. Does the Diddy story right now reflect on the whole rap industry in your mind? Is there?
I mean, there was rumors that Eazy-E did stuff like this. There's, Suge Knight doesn't have the best, reputation, although his was more, I think, extortion. But it's not just the rap industry; it's the music industry in general. It's it's Hollywood. It's all of these. Because it's no longer. Let's be honest. When we watch movies and stuff, it's not like we're watching Cary Grants and stuff anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not these great actors and actresses. Like if you have the right look or the right person, all of a sudden you're in a movie. So we're not seeing the same level of artistry that we used to see. It's corrupted, and if someone's good, they can blackball them and stuff like that. So in general, the left elite have had a pretty good run, and they've been able to do what they want to do, and it's starting to come down again. And I also think that has a lot to do with the changing of the philosophy of this country to where we're starting to get back to morality, and we're starting to get back to no, this is not acceptable. So somebody had to do the right thing and step forward to turn them in, because this wasn't just good police work. Somebody finally, I'm sure they've had known about it. I'm sure there's no way, I'm sure they've known about it for years. They couldn't prove anything, but something's changed, and we're starting to see a change. And hopefully more people who are doing things like that, they shouldn't be able to live the life of luxury while they torment and torture people. But at the same time, you also have to think about personal responsibility a little bit. You have to think, like, when I hear people like, well, I didn't have any choice because I really wanted an acting job. Maybe you're just not meant to be an actor.
Right.
Say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have
like
standards.
There's also got to be the other side. It doesn't excuse the things that he did, but putting hands on a woman like he did in the hotel video and all that stuff, I'm sure that was more the norm than the rarity. To be that arrogant, to do it out in the open, which means you've had a lot of reps, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's enough bad things about him. I mean, you should now be questioning the Biggie Smalls death. There's a lot of things you should be asking about this guy, because he clearly wanted to play gangster like he was on TV and stuff. So, but again, this is not one group. This is unfortunately entertainment as a whole is controlled by elitist lefts, and apparently sex trafficking and sex parties and all this stuff just seems to be, it sounds terrible, but the norm.
Yeah.
It's just, and it makes you think, like, these people that go out and accept awards and sit next to them and take pictures, like, you're taking pictures and you know what's going on later in the night.
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
I think the American people are ready to know the answers and get back to that moral understanding of right and wrong.
Yeah, I think that's where this election is going to be about. And this is where, to put this all into tiny little bow, this is what the left and Kamala Harris don't see, is they just don't see or listen to the American people because they know what's better, because it's their way. They're convinced it's their way. Their Marxist way is the way for them to have a bright future, because someone's got to bring in all the money and make the committees and all that kind of stuff. So it's profiting for them. It's a big, they've got a lot invested in this. So I think when it all comes crumbling down in a couple months, we're going to see a lot of people come forward or outed that we're going to be like, wow. And hopefully we can get back to where, Hollywood and entertainment was about the best artists getting the best opportunity, and not somebody who was willing to do things that the other artists wouldn't to get a record deal, or a movie deal, or worse, bastards like Diddy who are able to build empires off unfortunately the blood, sweat, and tears of other people.
Yeah, amen to that. Thank you, Tyrus, for talking to us about that. I was hoping you'd be willing to. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next week. We always love our conversations.
Yep, you have a great week.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye. Tyrus from Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, author, stand-up comic. You can see him as he travels around the country, and he has been a regular on this show since, I think, 2018. Good opportunity to speak with him weekly here. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Deroy Murdock's going to join us. He's going to talk a little bit about, I think he's going to talk about the rhetoric around the election right now. Is that it? Okay. Yes, we're going to talk to him about the Democrats and how they are handling their language when we come back. Deroy Murdock, don't go away.
Wild thing, think I love you.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com. If you're shopping for flooring, please consider Michael's Flooring Outlet and their opportunity to work hard to earn your business. They do. They work very hard to make sure that you are a satisfied customer when you shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They have basically every type of flooring that you would need. If you were looking to put in some beautiful new hardwood-looking floor in your home, maybe you're going with the luxury vinyl plank, maybe you're dead set on having that hardwood, you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet, you're going to be able to see the varying finishes that they have, the varying products that they have, and know that in all of this, there's different technology that's available in all of these different kinds of floorings to make sure that your investment is protected. That's something that Michael's Flooring Outlet cares about. They eat, sleep, breathe flooring, and they've been doing that in St. Louis for 30 years. Why don't you give them a visit at one of their 3 locations in St. Louis and Darien Prairie in West County, also in St. Charles County. You can find them online as well. Just visit igotfloored.com.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are 2 things you want: certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you wants. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Dan O'Donnell. I just think the polling is going to start to reflect what I think we've sort of been seeing, and that is Trump's a lot stronger than people think.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Used to spend my nights out in the ballroom. Liquor was the only love I'd known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom and brought me back, being too far gone. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey.
Homeownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. Gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dreams.
Gone is the day that everyone could live the American dream. It's just worth reminding folks that Kamala Harris is the vice president right now. And when she tries to talk about how we need to not go back, when she tries to talk about the future, she just skips over the fact that for the last 3.5 years, she has had access to power in ways only one other person outranks her. Here's more from her MSNBC interview with Stephanie Ruhle yesterday.
Just to be very frank, I am never going to apologize for going after companies and corporations that take advantage of the desperation of the American people. And as Attorney General, I saw this happen. In the midst of an emergency, whether it be an extreme weather event or even the pandemic, we saw it, where those few companies, not the majority, not most, but those few companies that would take advantage of the desperation of people and jack up prices. Yeah, I'm going to go after them. Yes, I'm going to go after them. And that is part of a much more comprehensive plan on what we can do to bring down the cost of living, including housing, including the everyday needs of the American people.
So when people are pushing back on her criticisms of grocery stores price gouging, and they're like, they're not price gouging. She's like, I will not apologize for going after price gougers. And it's like, okay, that's good. Go after people who price gouge. But you might want to do a little extra research on where the price gouging is actually happening.
Looking holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
So her holistically word, that's the new word of the day. And she is she gets a new word, and she's gonna deploy it until it sticks, or it doesn't, and then she's gonna get a new one.
Well, I don't know. This one's, I think, still in the trial phase. I think we might hear holistically a few more times.
Getting tired. In 30 seconds, she said it 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a timer going off in my brain and counting. It's interesting how, we were on location yesterday at Ruler Foods, and this topic kind of came up about price gouging, because we're right there where people are buying things. The people right now who are telling us, I'm going to fix the prices at private institutions, have never succeeded in the private market. They've never done it. Joe Biden hasn't. Kamala Harris may have worked a job at one point, but never really succeeded in private enterprise. And the guy that has succeeded in private enterprise apparently is so bad at the economy that the mainstream media won't even bring up his plans. It's just incredible that the evidence is right there in front of you and nobody will grab it.
I don't feel like when she goes out to speak, she does anything other than solidify what people already thought about her. Every time she has the opportunity to speak in front of people, it's like, well, yep, that seems to be more of the same. So she does have people out right now, these surrogates, these people who are out there to really push on trying to sell you the idea of Kamala Harris. It's usually combined with the reminder of your obligatory hatred of Donald Trump. But Mark Cuban, to me, is the weirdest of them all.
The media coverage has been so positive and almost, Mark, that it's like, we don't have to worry about trying to elect this guy who is clearly not up for another 4 years. And it's not Donald Trump. So they would have, the left and the people that need a candidate would have embraced anyone at that point. And, you know, ABC, it was 100% positive coverage of her, 92% negative of Trump. So Elon says, so what changed the media coverage?
Okay, first, what's the most watched news channel? Who are the most watched and viewed and listened to podcasts? Who are the most watched and listened to or
viewed? Is it Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, it's not close,
Fox?
Right? The number one shows are all Fox. The number one podcast,
so
lean right.
Even in spite of that, she's been able to.
Not in spite of that, meaning, well, in spite of that, meaning the mainstream media is not who you think it is. The mainstream media truly leans right.
Maybe that's why it's only tied then.
So basically what Mark Cuban is doing there is giving the title of mainstream media to Fox News and saying their viewership is so big that they're mainstream. So, and they're right. So mainstream media is right. But the monster that was the Frankenstein monster that Fox News was and is now was created out of the ridiculous leftist bias of the network news and the cable news environment.
He also mentions, what are all the podcasts that people are listening to?
Yeah.
So you're talking, at that point, you're not just talking about, this environment, because, it takes a lot of money to run a TV network. Okay, I get there's barriers to entry. For podcasts, there are a billion of them.
And not much barrier.
No. You can
Maybe
do one.
Marketing.
Marketing, okay, but you can do one in your basement. Most people do.
Yeah.
There are so many podcasts that is the true marketplace of where people are seeking out what they want to listen to. If the right-wing views are winning in podcasts, that means people are choosing to listen to that more than left-wing bias stuff.
Which means that the people are?
The people are choosing right-leaning things.
The people are right-leaning.
Okay.
That's the point, is that the people are right-leaning. And the fact that Kamala Harris isn't succeeding in the way that they think that she should, they're trying to blame it on media bias. They're trying to suggest that for some reason or another that Kamala Harris is not doing well because of the right-wing media bias that is out there. If you think Fox News is right-wing, Joe Rogan is like one of the people who he's talking about with podcasting, I'm sure. These people are having conversations from a genuine place, and their position, their perspective is usually just right of center. Joe Rogan is not a far right winger.
Oh, no, not at all.
He's a far libertarian, wherever that deploys, and that is on the right side of the aisle.
Yeah, it's become on the right side of the aisle.
Yeah, it's because if you're on the left, you want tyranny.
Yeah.
You want to overlord the lives of the people whose taxpayer dollars that you will never get enough of. Here's more from Mark Cuban.
Joe, there's a lot of COOs that when the CEO leaves for whatever reason, come in, take over, and have completely different policies and approaches. right? That's just the way it works. When you're second in command, you do what your boss tells you to do. He delegates authority to you.
But the border was supposed to be her.
Yeah, but it's still the same thing. It's his policies. What he said to her was, you go down and you use diplomacy to try to improve, to try to reduce the flow, the migration of people across the border, right? And when they finally came around, and it took too long, I agree, but when they finally got there, now look at the results. It didn't take a wall, but yet the crossing numbers are where Trump's were when pre-pandemic, at the same number. So it worked. So what she did actually worked.
Kamala Harris, according to Mark Keevan, was the solution to the border.
It took her a long time. They didn't give her the tools that she needed, but she got it done. That's what he's saying.
Also, when you create legal status for people, when you manifest legal status for people, and you streamline their ability to come in here, and then you start measuring what is an illegal crossing in a different way, you can't chart those numbers congruently. You can't watch parallel lines take off one way or the other when the measurements for the data points are different. That's pretty simple stuff. Even maybe a billionaire businessman like Mark Cuban. Is he a billionaire?
I think so.
I really don't want to inflate his wealth.
We'll say multi-millionaire because that's true regardless.
Yeah, he's like a thousandaire.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say say whatever you want.
The YouTube poll for today is which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats. Is this an obvious one for you?
Yeah, it is.
Is it an obvious one for you, Brad?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got a really good one.
It is not for our audience. I'm shocked.
I haven't looked at the results, but I've heard you mention that.
What do you think?
It seems obvious that Joe Biden is the worst candidate. I mean, he's not the candidate anymore. So he would be the greater liability. I mean, he was tanking as fast as you could. He was going down faster than gravity. And Kamala Harris has slowed that. I think she's coming down now, certainly after her highs, but she's definitely doing better than he was.
Do you remember when everybody was talking about like how high the Kamala Harris, like everybody was high on Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were acknowledging the fact that Donald Trump wasn't doing anything? He said let it happen.
Kamala Harris?
No.
Or during
like
this?
For the entire month of August, the Trump campaign sat idly by.
Yeah, it was like they were trying to figure out what to do.
I think that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. The idea that you would let Kamala Harris go out there, have her day in the sun, put all of your positivity out there, let it cook, and then when the nomination was done and you were 100% sure that she was going to be the nominee, they would come back and start hitting her harder in September. Instead of trying to put out an effort against the natural high that is a convention, they didn't do that. And I think that was really smart. There were a lot of people were saying like, why aren't they out there? Why aren't they pushing back? They don't know what they're doing. I think it was very intentional.
It's looking that way now.
It looked that way then.
That it was a smart move because they
it's looking.
Well, they definitely had their big kind of inflated moment. And if the Trump campaign knew they were going to do that.
It's the convention.
Well, it's not just the convention, but it was everything. It was every media outlet. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this woman's so unbelievable." They're still trying to do that, but it's like they're running out of gas right now.
The play.
Yeah, I'm saying that it worked. It's a very successful move. At the time, I'm not sure that I would have agreed with it, though.
I don't think you did agree with it.
I don't think I did.
I didn't think you agreed with it at the beginning of this segment.
I don't think I agreed with it at the beginning of this sentence.
Brad, you said it's pretty obvious to you the worst candidate?
Yeah, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the worst candidate because everybody has forgotten how bad Joe Biden was. The man, I don't know, I keep hearing the expression, he literally died on stage at the debate. He couldn't finish his...
I've not heard that.
Literally? Really?
Well, yeah, it's one person that keeps saying it over and over again, but he had such a bad debate, and then they whisked him off, and they hit him on the beach in Delaware that people have almost forgotten about how bad of a candidate he was. And every now and then he pops his head up and he puts a Trump hat on and makes a mistake, or he's like Kamala and I are super excited with our success, and he touts his record. With Kamala Harris, they're able to separate themselves a little bit from the Biden record. They shouldn't be able to because it's the Biden-Harris administration, but they're able to do that because Harris is the second name on that ticket. You put Biden back on there, everybody's going to look at him and say, this man is not competent, and everything that he did was terrible. So it's Joe Biden's the worst candidate.
I'm not going to tell you who's who, but the difference, we have 200 votes, is 46-54.
Wow.
It's super close. So you got to come tell us why you think what you think. It's clear that Kamala Harris is not the candidate that the left thought she was going to be. She's failing every time she has an appearance in front of a microphone or a camera. She's an embarrassment to the people who have really built her. It's kind of amazing to watch how everything has been laid out. Every obstacle has been moved out of the way for her. And her job is to learn the word holistically. It's like you're botching this in a really, really bad way, and the polls are reflecting it. And the people who watch polls regularly, Ryan, and know that Trump, I think there's about a plus that Trump actually scores about 5 points better than he polls, and then people say that there's like a 1 to 3% regular measurement of cheating. So I feel like if Donald Trump's within 3 percentage points, if Harris is up by 3 percentage points, I consider that to be a tie, and it's even closer than that. So yeah, you can tell that the Kamala Harris people are scrambling while they're like slobbering, begging for another debate with Donald Trump. Like, oh, you gonna do it? Are you chicken? Are you scared? And Trump's like, no, he's just not interested in it. And the ironic thing is that the fear really, really exists in a big way with Kamala Harris, because she won't debate him anytime, anywhere. That's what Donald Trump has done. He took out one opponent in doing so, and he showed up and debated Kamala Harris again. And I really think it's interesting, too, how America really saw ABC. Like, they really did a number on America's trustworthiness in the media. Everybody saw, even if you were for Kamala Harris, it was like, yeah, they were totally not unbiased.
Oh, I said it that night. I came home from the debate from Dave & Buster's, walked in. My wife was still awake. I thought she'd be asleep. I said, "You watch it." And she asked, well, what'd you think? I said, no, what'd you think before I say anything? And she's a communications teacher. She just analyzed it based on the facts. She's like, I don't even care politically. I was just watching their styles. ABC, or she didn't even say ABC. She didn't even know who it was. She said, those moderators, they just fact-checked Trump.
Yep. Literally.
That's
it's
all
not
they did.
even an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Literally. And America can see that. And you know what America hates? When it's not fair.
Yeah, everybody does.
America hates it when it's not fair. Let's take a quick break. We will continue this conversation on the other side of this break. We've got Jay Keevan coming in at 2:05. He is a candidate for Illinois' 112th State House District. He's running as a Republican. He's not a politician. He's not somebody who's been trying to seek public office in this capacity. Before, he just saw a need to represent the 112th District with some common sense, some trying to relate to the people in a way in the 112th District that they have not had under the Democrat leadership of Katie Stewart. So Jake Keevan in studio at 2:05, and we'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
'Cause there's nothing like your love to get me high.
TheDiamondShop.net, that's the website. If you want to go shop online, TheDiamondShop.net. You can also go make a visit in their store in Clayton. It's a beautiful store, and they are beautiful people. They're wonderful people there. The family-owned and operated business at The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop's been around since 1910. Isn't that pretty cool? To have a jewelry shop that's been able to be that successful for that long. But when you go in and you see Tom and Mona and Nikki and the staff at The Diamond Shop, you're going to understand pretty quickly why generationally people are like, yeah, you got to go to The Diamond Shop for that jewelry purchase. You can enjoy VIP savings when you go online to thediamondshop.net. You scroll to the bottom of the homepage. There's a quick form to fill out there. Fill it out. You'll be VIP in no time. They have 25% off all watches, even Movado watches right now as well. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift coming up, or if you're just looking to celebrate something, or you know what, you just need to tell the time and you need a beautiful watch, you go to The Diamond Shop. They will have you covered. Like I said, become a VIP and learn all about The Diamond Shop online at thediamondshop.net.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
At Lakeside Renovation and Design, our secret sauce isn't just the tools we use or the materials we choose. It's our people. We're not just builders. We're local craftsmen, highly skilled in our trades. Our team takes immense pride in transforming homeowners' visions into reality. We're not just in the business of remodeling. We're in the business of making homes more beautiful, comfortable, and valuable. What sets us apart? Integrity and honesty. Our craftsmen exceed expectations because we care. Lakeside, where every nail, every cut, every detail is a testament to our commitment to you.
The YouTube live chat poll of the day has to do with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Which, as a candidate, do you think is a greater liability for Democrats, or which one would it have been if all things being equal? Let us know which one, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, you think is the worst candidate. That's today's YouTube live chat poll. It is 1:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Freedom of thought. Freedom of speech. It's defended here on your home for conservative talk and conservative values. 97.1 FM Talk.
Everybody gets high sometimes, you know.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
You shouldn't be drowning on your own. And if you feel you're sinking, I will jump right over into cold, cold water for you. And although time may take us into different places, I will still be patient with you. And I hope you know.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Oh man, I'm trying to find the story here of this so that I can read it to you. It's on Fox News. I'm going to share a picture on our YouTube Live while I read the story. I don't know if you guys, spent a lot of time on Twitter today?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so a little time on Twitter.
A little time on Twitter today.
How much of my tweets do you read?
80-90%.
Is that a lie?
I have no idea. I don't ever judge.
There's no requirement.
They just show up.
So there is this story about a sandwich that is going viral right now, and I am appalled. Here's the sandwich.
Oh, no.
This is from Fox News. Critics are crowing about Claude the Claw, a show-stopping P-A-E-A-N? P-A-E-A-N?
Payan?
I don't know. They're just trying to alliterate here, and I don't like it because I don't know how to say the word. To poultry performing under the bright lights of Broadway. Whatever.
Thank you, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, this is Fox News. Give me a break here. It says, when do you ever see a chicken sandwich with the entire leg attached to it?
That's the first one.
It's like this hidden little sandwich shop run by a 2 Michelin star chef who's doing some crazy poo.
Of course, this is some chef being like, I'm going to include the talon.
Bird Box opened in July. It's led by chef Chris Blydorn and partner Artie Shetty.
Blyborn and Shetty. I never thought they'd get together.
The duo behind the Michelin-rated San Francisco restaurant Birdsong. When I think of the word birdsong, that's the opposite thing I think of image-wise of birdsong. Is a sesame seed bun with a leg sticking out of it.
This is them trolling San Francisco, right?
This is them marketing.
My gosh.
But here we are. Claude the Claw is the signature item at their East Coast fried chicken hotspot. It's a crave-worthy sandwich filled with an entire chicken quarter, thigh, and drumstick. You might find in any supermarket meat aisle. Why is there a bun on something that has bones in it? What do you do? How do you navigate this? I know how I don't.
This sounds to me like 2 chefs in San Francisco said, you think we're going to make any money on these claws? Let's send them to the East Coast. Yeah, don't do them at this restaurant.
Those people think that it's culture.
Yeah, we'll just say that this is high-end food now. This is the garbage. They're just deep frying the trash and putting a bun on it.
Would you eat it?
No.
Really?
I'd try it if people said it was good.
Oh, Ryan.
But
I was so proud of you having standards there for just a second.
Look, if enough people eat anything and they go, actually, it's pretty good, then I'm going to go, well, okay, then maybe I'm missing
Well, maybe the chicken part is really good. Are you wanting to go chomp on that foot? It's a foot.
Look, I'm telling you from right now, my perspective would be, why would anybody eat that? But if, again...
Would you touch that?
Oh, I would touch it. I mean, it's just a claw. It's just a chicken leg. But it's...
In a sandwich.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
It says the Bird Box version still has the leg attached all the way down to the foot. The primitive profile made Claude the Claw destined for viral stardom in the Instagram era. Sometimes food achieves fame because it looks good, not necessarily because it tastes good. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I got to say, that is one of the best things about sushi, though. It does taste good, but it is an art to look at it. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Come on, back me up.
Is that it?
Come on.
It's not a very resounding confidence.
Once in a while, I'll be like, Brad, me and you against Annie.
Ryan,
this is one of those things.
This is kind of like, weird as it may sound, this is one of my pet peeves. The way food looks, I mean, outside of being extremely disgusting looking delicious doesn't really occur to me. So I can't look at a sushi presentation and be like, I bet that tastes really good.
I can look at a sushi presentation and appreciate the visual of it. I just don't want to eat it.
They call it edible art at a lot of sushi places.
Is that how you order it?
I'm like, oh, what does that look like?
How do you talk when you order sushi?
I use my refined voice.
Which one is that?
The one where I say,
have I ever heard that voice?
Does this have any tamago in it?
Tamago?
Tamago.
Is that something
tomato.
else? Is that
I
a
just say
sushi thing?
tomatoes. Yeah, tamago. That's something I think you would like, Annie. I would, if I were your waiter, I'd say, Annie, I know you haven't been to sushi restaurants before, but since you're here, perhaps we try tamago over a bed of rice.
Is it the movie Little Nicky where Adam Sandler's got that butler who keeps saying he's very, very sneaky?
That's Deeds.
Deeds, Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds.
And that's John Turturro. That's who the butler is. Yeah, very, very sneaky.
I don't even know what Mr. Deeds was about, but I remember that line, and I say it anytime the word sneaky comes up. I will say very, very sneaky.
Was Mr. Deeds not about taking care of the two kids?
No. That's Big Daddy.
That's Big Daddy. Oh my gosh.
Mr. Deeds
Those are two different movies.
Mr. Deeds is a remake of Mr. Deeds Goes to Town or something like that.
Goes to Washington?
Washington? No.
I don't know. I really don't.
I believe Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
I love our best segments are when we just speculate on things sequentially.
we have the entire world at our fingertips.
We don't know anything about said subject, and then we start talking about it, and then there's another thing that we don't know that's nestled into the other thing we don't know, and it takes us to 5650.
It's like Russian dolls.
Babushkas.
That's what those are called, for sure.
Jay Keevan running for Illinois' 112th House Representative seat in Illinois next. Don't go away.
Learn how we grow.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're shopping for a vehicle, I want you to give Cassins & Sons Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Wagoneer a try. I love Cassins. I've purchased my last 2 vehicles from them. I intend to purchase my future vehicles from them because I trust them and they care for their customers and they want to earn your next vehicle purchase with your experience with the current one. And they do a great job of that. Right now, 0% financing available on most new Jeeps. 0% financing. That is a great opportunity on most new Jeeps at Cassins & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Wagoneer. If you are looking to go visit them in person, they are in Glen Carbon. If you are on 270, head about a mile north on 159. Cassins is right there on the left. You can also call them and make sure you secure the 0% financing. It's a September promotion. It could be gone here shortly. 618-800-2712. 618-800-2712. 618-800-2712. Online at CassinsCan.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A monster is heading for Florida. Elisa Brady, Fox News. Hurricane Helene is now a Category 3 storm. Top sustained winds 120 miles per hour and still gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico ahead of a possible landfall tonight in northwest Florida with a life-threatening storm surge of up to 20 feet in some areas. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell urging residents to heed evacuation warnings.
Residents that are in these areas, they can still take action. They can take action now to move out of harm's way.
Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia also have states of emergency in effect. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp.
Certainly this storm hitting in the middle of the night with the potential for tornadoes and other things, people just need to be very, very, very weather aware all this evening and be prepared at home.
Helene is now centered less than 200 miles southwest of Tampa. President Biden says the U.S. stands with Ukraine.
Let me be clear. Russia will not prevail in war. Russia will not prevail. Ukraine will prevail, and we'll continue to stand by you every step of the way.
Highlighting multi-nation commitments for Ukraine's security and reconstruction at the start of an Oval Office meeting with President Zelensky, who's thanking President Biden for billions more in military aid and plans to discuss a victory plan. New York City Mayor Eric Adams calls this a painful day, but says he's innocent after being indicted in a federal corruption probe.
The indictment heavily focuses on Adams' connections to Turkey and alleges that Adams, for nearly a decade, accepted luxury travel benefits from wealthy foreign business people and at least one Turkish government official who sought to gain influence over Adams. Investigators also allege Adams accepted illegal campaign donations, and then those donations in turn were used to defraud New York City and steal public funds.
Fox's CB Cotton. America is listening to Fox News.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only. You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? with a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
More excellent weather as we go through our Thursday afternoon. Partly to mostly sunny skies, 78 for the high. Tonight, increasing clouds as we go through the night, 63. Friday, mostly cloudy, increasing wind. Some tropical downpours from time to time on Friday, 75 for the high. Downpours again possible Friday night and Saturday, a little better on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25rhino.com.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. The Bagel Loan is important to remember when you are looking for a mortgage, when you're looking to get a refinance on your mortgage. Maybe you got your mortgage in the last couple years, and guess what? Those rates were sky high. You can lower them now with a Bagel Loan and not cost you anything to do it. This is a no-brainer, folks. The amount of money that you can save on your interest rate going down and locking it in as they've come down is impressive. Plus, you don't pay any of those fees, those closing costs. You don't have to deal with that on a refinance with a Bagel Loan. Stewie calls it a Bagel Loan because bagels look like zeros, and that's to remind you that there is zero closing costs on your obligation when you get this refinance. So you just got to give them a call and start the conversation today to find out how a Bagel Loan mortgage can help you. They are good for purchases. They're good for refinances. If you've got credit card debt piling up, talk to Stewie. He can help you. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan and MLS number 226715.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. So great ideas can happen right now. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
We know you've got an interesting take on things. You can tell us by clicking the microphone button next to Listen Live when you're on the Odyssey app. Record a short message for us to hear when you tune into 97.1 on the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Today,
any registered voter in Illinois can cast their ballot and early vote. So if you don't like those long lines on Election Day, or you just want to get a head start, you have 40 days before the general election to cast your ballot and do early voting. So let's get into those important dates that you all need to know if you're in Illinois. Early voting in Illinois lasts up to the day before the November general election. October 31st is the final day to request a ballot by mail. Then the last day you can early vote is November 4th.
So there you have a really great report by Mercedes McKay on KSDK about today being the first day that you can vote in Illinois. I've already got a few sticker pictures on X from people who have gone and cast their ballot in Illinois. And it's a pretty exciting time. We do live in a world where there is a voting season, and in Illinois, it has officially begun. And I'm really excited to have our next guest in studio with us, Jay Keevan, candidate for Illinois' 112th State House District. You can learn more about him, Jay, the number 4, Illinois.com, J4Illinois.com. Jay, welcome back. It's good to have you here. It's an election time now. People can go vote for you today.
It is election time, and I tell you, Annie, I sure do appreciate you inviting me in. I'd like to come in and talk to your listeners.
Well, we love having you, and we know that there are a lot of people who are very interested in your race specifically. You were running against incumbent Katie Stewart in Illinois' 112th District for State House Representative. I can look at your resume as a politician, Jay. Politician is not what you've come into this race. Well, that's not where your resume is. You're a public servant, but politics is kind of a new thing for you, isn't it?
Politics is a completely new thing for me. So, as you mentioned, I am a public servant, and I do understand public servant means that you serve the public, not the other way around. So from my state policing career to my career as a police chief in Edwardsville to my time in Troy now as their city administrator for a little over 3 years, that's just what I've done. I've served the people of my community and of my state. I have found that politics is quite a bit different. In public service, we all work together to try to serve the public. In politics, it seems like the other side just wants to fight with us.
Death match.
Obviously, your listeners know what it's like when they were trying to kick me off the ballot way back in May.
Yeah, our show here and our station had a little bit of part in helping you get on the ballot. Katie Stewart herself supported a bill that would disallow Jay Keevan or anybody else that the Republican Party wanted to slate against her, disallow her to have an opponent. Katie Stewart didn't want to have to win the race. She wanted to take it from the people of the 112th. And you kind of put your name in there and you said you'd run, and people rallied around you in a really big way. I heard from person after person after person when I was standing out at the hotel with you getting these signatures super early that morning that people were really just kind of sick and tired of the way Katie Stewart's been doing business in the 112th.
I think they're just sick and tired of the way that the state of Illinois has been going as a whole, but certainly in the 112th, they want representation that'll represent that district and not, the interests of Springfield or the interests of Chicago. And I would be remiss if I did not thank your listeners for how they came out and rallied for me on that day in May, because I'm telling you, without everybody coming in and signing those petitions and me getting my petition in, they may have had their way of kicking me off the ballot. Now, their law was later found to be unconstitutional. They passed that through in 3 days. The House took a shell bill and tried to kick me off the ballot with that. The Senate passed it the next day. The governor signed it the following day. But because of many good people, including a lot of your listeners, I was on the ballot.
Well, we were happy to show up for you, and we got to do the same thing in this election season, because there are issues that matter to the people of Illinois. And I think that, even in that little anecdotal situation about you even being able to get on the ballot, it's just there's a way that Illinois does business. And when you have a supermajority of Democrats in Springfield, and you've got J.B. Pritzker, the governor, who I will remind folks, there are no term limits for governor in the state of Illinois. So, yeah, catch your breath and come back to us. I don't know how long J.B. Pritzker is going to rule over Illinois, but the Democrat stronghold on the order of business, we need some checks and balances. And in the General Assembly, your pickup, if you were to win this seat, would do wonders for putting a check so that there's just more balance in the General Assembly. What kind of issues do voters, I know that you're knocking on thousands of doors right now to try to get your message out to the people of the 112th District of why maybe they might want an alternative in Jay Keevan. What do you hear from the people who you're talking about?
Well, the number one concern is the high cost of living. So the cost of living is skyrocketing in Illinois. As a matter of fact, just this past week, I was in Edwardsville and I was knocking on doors and I met an 80-year-old gentleman. And he was practically in tears telling me that he couldn't afford his cost of living, and now he can't afford to pay his property tax bill. He wants to stay in his home. This has been his home where he raised his family. His wife passed away, and he said, I don't know how I'm going to pay the tax bill. He's living on Social Security. Said, I've worked all my life, and this is what I have. He said, I'm looking at probably being forced to go into a nursing home and losing my home, and he just didn't want to do that. And I talked to him about some nursing home, or I shouldn't say nursing home, some assisted living options. And my father-in-law is in an assisted living in Maryville. It's a nice place. And he was very reluctant. He said, I shouldn't have to do that. I've worked hard my whole life. I've done what I'm supposed to do, and now I can't even afford the taxes on my own home when I'm paying my utility bills and I'm buying groceries. I can't afford it. So number one issue is the cost of living, which goes right along with that is the property taxes. People are just sick of their property taxes going up in Madison and St. Clair counties year after year after year.
I kind of think those are both bipartisan concerns.
You would think so. And my thought being, we need to take a look at our property taxes. 2/3 of our property tax bill in Illinois is usually for your school district, and it can go up to 70% of your tax bill is for your school district. And I don't blame the school districts. They get their funding from Springfield, so they're never fully funded. So they pass the budget, they fund the schools at a lesser level than fully funded, and then they add all of these unfunded mandates. Now, some of the mandates are good. I mean, the fact that they're doing background checks on employees of school districts to make sure that sex offenders aren't in our school districts, that's a great mandate, but they don't give them the money to do it. So the only place the school district can go when they don't get funding from Springfield is property taxes. So then you wonder why your property tax bill goes up year after year. Well, they pile these mandates on them. We should stop some of that. We should take a look. I mean, literally, the schools have hundreds of unfunded mandates. We should look at them. And do we need all the mandates that we're forcing onto these schools? So we can address the property tax bill that way.
Yeah.
In addition, like our gasoline tax, it goes up automatically every year. I mean, to me, that's the coward's way out. Let's vote on it every year. When I craft a budget in Troy, I know I can't afford to do all the road projects that I would like to do in the city of Troy every year. So we put together a priority list. These are our worst streets. These are the things that need to be done first, because I have a finite bucket of money that I'm working with. And to me, when you're looking at, hey, these are the things we want to do, so let's just raise taxes of $1.1 billion, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Especially when the cost of living is so high everywhere else. It's like we're not in a position right now where the people can afford that.
Jay, Keevan, I'm seeing, getting to meet you, but I've seen what's on your shirt in many signs, because I actually live in what, I'm not going to say would be, what will be your district, because, I'm in the 112th. So this is a very, very competitive district. I see Katie Stewart signs, I see Jay Keevan signs, and I can't count to try to figure out who's going to win, but I do believe that I'm seeing more Republican Jay Keevan signs than I have in the past, which encourages me. My question for you, you said you're knocking on doors. Love to hear that. You probably knocked on my door when I'm probably here while you're there.
Sure.
But when you knock on somebody's door who says, oh, no, I think I'm going to go for Katie Stewart. The Republicans you got. But those people, what do you say to them to say, look, you've had Katie Stewart, now give me a try?
Well, I will tell you that question or that statement has come up, and not as often as you would think. Now, people are usually very polite at the door, and even if they're not going to vote for you, they won't, get off my porch type of thing. But I did talk to a teacher who said, well, I'm a teacher, and I'm going to support Katie. I said, answer me one question. What has Katie done for you as a teacher? Well, she thought for a moment, and she says, well, I really don't like the multi-stall, multi-gender bathrooms that they're going to be putting in the high school and the Lincoln Middle School. I said, okay, so that's something you don't like. What has she done for you as a teacher? By the time we got done talking, she told me, she said, you know what, I am going to vote for you because at least you'll give it a try. And I've told people that. I said, hey, I understand. The Illinois House has a super minority for Republicans. There's a supermajority of Democrats, which means just recently, the House and the Senate, there's a supermajority. They passed a $53 billion budget, $1.1 billion in new taxes, $1 billion for people who are not Illinois residents and are not legal U.S. citizens. $1 billion. Well, they didn't have one Republican vote on that bill because they don't need them because they have a supermajority. So, my thought is I'm going to give it my best shot. I can't sit at somebody's door and promise them that I'm going to fix everything. But what I can do is tell them I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to work really hard for the taxpayers and for the people of the 112th District, which is what I will do. I can make that promise. And I think I can find 10 or 12 like-minded people in Springfield that are willing to work with me and push hard. And I think we can do some things. Now, can we do everything that I'd like to do? Probably not. At least not the first term. You got to take some seats back. We got to get closer to balance. And I'm not even a guy that says, hey, the Republicans have to be in complete control of everything. But we need to have a voice. We need to have people that are fiscal conservatives that at least have a voice so that they can't pass a $53 billion budget without one Republican vote.
Yeah, Jay Keevan in studio with us. He's running as the Republican in the 112th District against Katie Stewart, the incumbent Democrat there. When I think about the Republicans, my friends who are in the General Assembly, we speak to the state senators, we speak to the state reps, the few that we have. I think that what I want to hear is more of a solidified approach of the basics. Because you're not in a position, if you win, and we could win a few seats and we're still going to be in the super majority or minority. It's dire in the General Assembly, but we got to start somewhere. Do you see the opportunity of going in there as a Republican who could potentially be in a super minority or just a pretty large minority? Do you see the opportunity to work across the aisle and get to know the people in the House, to learn about them, to learn how it works, to talk to them, and find areas where you can work together? Do you feel like you would go there and be combative and want to push back and make a big name for the 112th as a conservative stronghold? Like, I know that you're not a politician guy coming into this office. When you go to Springfield, how do you envision representing the 112th?
Well, I think you, and especially when you're in a super minority, but even if you aren't, I think you have to compromise. I think you have to work with people. When I'm knocking on doors, I'm telling people, I'm not a hard right Republican. I'm not the person that says no to everything that a Democrat submits. And I'm hoping that I'm going to run into Democrats that are not so hard left that they're going to say no to everything that I would submit. Realistically, they're there for the same reason I believe that the Republicans are there. They want to do what they believe is best for the constituents within their districts. They want to do what they believe is best for the people of Illinois. And what you asked me is the very question that I asked Leader Tony McCombie when they were trying to recruit me. It's like, I'm not your guy that's going to sit there and fold my arms and say no to everything. I'm kind of a middle of the road. I work with people. I've dealt with compromise my entire life to try to get something good for the people that I'm working for. So if you're looking at somebody that's just going to, wave the flag, that's not me. And she kind of smiled and said, that's not at all what we're looking for. We're looking for people that are willing to work with others. So she said, I want you to meet somebody. And she introduced me to Amy Ellick. And Amy is the Republican.
She's my representative in the 111th.
Yes, in the 111th. So I had coffee with Amy, and I said, Amy, I don't know. I'm to the point in my life, I don't want to take on a failing effort, go somewhere where I can't make a difference, where I can't make impact. And she said, if you're willing to work with others, you can get things done. And Amy said, I'm getting things done for my district. You just can't fold your arms and say no to everything that the Democrats submit forward. If you're willing to work with them, some of them, not all, but some of them will work with you and you can get things done. So that's my hope. I know hope is not a method, but that's my hope, is to get to Springfield and to work with both sides of the aisle. We have to work with our Democratic colleagues to get things done, because if we don't, we're in the super minority, we're going to fold our arms and we're going to get nothing.
I appreciate that, because the 112th District is not it's not a super red district. I think it is a definite leans red district, which is kind of a mystery as to how Katie Stewart, other than the millions and millions of dollars that have been pumped into it from Mike Madigan in Chicago to help her win. I don't really understand why the Democrats care about this district so much, but the Democrats, the Democrat Party and the Mike Madigan machine that has been in place for a long time and continues to move in that direction really, really likes the 112th District, and Katie Stewart has been the happy warrior for them. To put a Republican in there, I mean, you're not going to – the 112th, the people who are disgusted with Katie Stewart's representation are not going to get their ideal far-right candidate a victory in the 112th. That's just not a realistic play, and when we don't look at it through a realistic lens, that means more Katie Stewart. What are you hearing from the people you're talking about that they're upset with the representation, the efforts that Katie Stewart has been making on behalf of her constituents in the 112th?
Well, I know in Edwardsville and Glen Carmen, the folks that are sending their kids to school there, they're very upset with the school board when they took on the plan to move forward with the multi-stall, both gender, or they call it gender neutral bathrooms where boys and girls are using the same restroom facilities. And they were very upset with that.
And this was under, I'm going to just add this, but Katie Stewart's husband was the principal at the time while this was going on.
He was the principal of the high school, yes. And I remember Katie came and spoke with city administrator groups and said, hey, this law is for businesses. It's for businesses that choose to do it. It seems odd to me that the first entity that chooses to do it is a school, not a business. And then
her husband is in charge as the administrator of.
And then the second one is the middle school, the Lincoln Middle School. So a lot of the people in Edwardsville and Glen Carmen, they're very concerned. I mean, do what you want to me, but don't mess with my children kind of attitude is what I was hearing from people at the doors. And that was in the news a lot a couple months ago when 3 months ago when I was really kind of starting to really hit the doors pretty hard. Now that's faded away from the news some. But the thing that keeps hitting us is the cost of living. You know, the fact that legislators are willing to vote for budgets that give them nice pay raises while everybody else is going backwards. And, you know, my opponent has voted for pay raises for herself.
Yes.
My opponent has voted to give illegal aliens benefits that we're not even offering to our own citizens. So those are the kind of things that upset people with how those votes are going. But, you know, I understand, follow the money. The money comes out of Chicagoland area. If the money comes out of Chicagoland area, the vote kind of leans toward the Chicagoland area. I get that. I'm offering people an alternative. I say it every day, and it's not a complaint. It's just a fact of life. I'm not going to raise the funds that Katie Stewart's organization raises. I'm not going to have the big unions. I'm not going to have the big groups out of Chicagoland area that are going to write me $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 checks. So I know that. My path to victory is knocking on a lot of doors, talking to a lot of people, asking good people to talk to their family and friends. I mean, again, I'm coming back to your listeners, but they helped me get across the finish line with getting my name on the ballot with signatures. Now I need them to get out and vote. I need people
and bring people
and
to
bring
vote.
their family and bring
Yes.
their friends and tell people that it makes a difference. And I've heard people tell me that, well, in Illinois, it doesn't matter. Chicago's going to carry the presidential election, and we're never going to get a Republican president nomination from the state of Illinois. I don't know that that's true, but even if you do believe that there's no chance that Donald Trump carries Illinois, but there's still a lot of down ballot people that it really makes a difference. I mean, we've got good county board members that I know that are on Madison County Board, on the ballot for the board. We've got good state folks that are on the ballot. We've got judge retention on the ballot. So there's a lot of things to vote for beside just the presidential election. And that's what I try to tell people when they get disheartened and say, well, Chicago makes the decision for our president. Maybe true. Again, I don't know. There's always hope. There's always an opportunity that people will say, hey, I was doing better 4 years ago than I am doing today.
Yeah.
And maybe they come out and they decide they want to vote. But for those who decide that they can't make a difference in the presidential election, I know they can make a difference, obviously, in my election. I know they can make a difference at their local county boards, and they can make a difference in their local elections.
Well, Jay Keevan running as the Republican in the 112th district would be a huge pickup for the Republicans in the General Assembly. Your time in law enforcement, your time working with the public, you know what it means to work with people. And I've seen that up front myself, and I've heard it from so many people who we mutually know that you are such a hard worker. And, you know, I will really be interested to see in how your race turns out, because you're running this race the correct way. You're sticking to the issues. You're talking to the people. You're listening to them. And it really is about them. And it's about time that the 112th has a representative that pays attention to what the people in the 112th want. And Jay Keevan is the candidate for those folks who are looking for actual representation and not dictation. Jay Keevan, it's such a pleasure to have you back in here. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Of course. Support Jay Keevan online at j4illinois.com, j4illinois.com. If you can go there, make a donation, show up, and help him get people out to the polls. Illinois voting is open. You can go early vote now. Bring friends, bring family, encourage people to vote for change. And I believe that in the end, you will be very glad that you did. All right, let's take a quick break. More Annie Fry Show after this.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Feeling like a bullet
podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town & Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
So I want to tell you about Civia Law. I'm so excited to have Civia Law on as a sponsor of the Annie Fry Show because these are genuinely wonderful people. And when you start to have the conversation with Civia about how they can help you plan your will, your trust, or you get your powers of attorney in line, you have been procrastinating on this, and there's no reason to do it. It is a phone call away. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. And you can visit them online at civialaw.com, SIVIA law.com. They have a 2-week turnaround of completed documents from the first time that you sit down and have that appointment. In 2 weeks, you can have this thing that's kind of been looming over you. Why are you putting this off? If you have kids, if you have assets, if you want to avoid probate, which becomes very public after the loss of life, it can cause loss of money. It certainly causes loss of time. Civia Law comes in and helps you take care of all of that in a matter of 2 weeks. Give them a call. Tell them Annie sent you. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. They are in Edwardsville, Wentzville, East Alton, Swansea, and Mount Vernon. Book your strategy session today. Call 833-995-WILL. Visit them online at civialaw.com.
The YouTube live chat poll of the day is which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats? Would it be Joe Biden or is it Kamala Harris? As I understand it, without looking at the results of this poll, it is very close. So we'd like to know what you think. And, of course, you could kind of tilt the poll as well. Still close. Annie just confirmed. Still close. Let us know. You've got about a half an hour to vote in this poll, maybe a little bit less than that. We'll give the results at about 2:55, 2:56. So vote in today's YouTube live chat poll, 2:31 now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
There's a music station that fits your taste at Odyssey.com. Download the app for instant access to hundreds of music stations and listen live to 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it or stream from 971talk.com.
Walking through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Everybody in old cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played his tenor sax.
You know, we ran out of time with Jay Keevan there. I cannot tell you enough how much of a normal dude Jay Keevan is. He's not a politician. He's the person you want running for office representing you because he's actually a servant to the people who he represents. It's very refreshing. He mentioned the bathroom thing, and I've heard this specifically about the Edwardsville School District, but I've heard this about other places as well. But I just know more specifically through school board meetings that they're public. When the whole idea of going from gendered bathrooms to this gender neutral thing, they're going to have this like big wide open space that it doesn't even have doors on it. But I mean, like, my understanding is a massive room that has a pass through where you walk in, and it's basically a bunch of individual stalled bathrooms that are closed ceiling to floor.
Okay.
So you can't like peek through the cracks in the stalls and stuff like that. It's very private. But there are questions about high school kids having individual private spaces to that extent in a high school room. And then this is what blew my mind. And I was wondering if you guys experienced this in high school at all. Because I certainly don't recall this. I went to Edwardsville High School for 1 year. Kids are saying that they won't go into the bathrooms because they're scared to go in there because of sex, drugs, and violence that can take place in these bathrooms, where they'll go in there and then they'll get threatened or bullied or whatever and told to get out because there are things going on in the bathroom that the people who are doing said things don't want other people in there, so they threaten them. So there's like an understood mad dash that takes place when these kids come home from school because they're running to the bathroom because they hold it all day. Is that a common thing? Because to me, when I hear people talking about the bathrooms like Jay Keevan was talking about right now, when he was discussing, because my question to Jay Keevan was, when you're talking to people, what is it that they're saying? And he brought up the bathroom issue. Do you have any idea how many people bring up the Edwardsville bathroom issue to me all the time? And I don't send my kids to Edwardsville Public School.
Really?
It's a really big deal to people. And it is as much because they aren't providing guaranteed safety and security in these bathrooms so that their kids can go pee in the middle of the day.
Yeah, that's actually the same thing I've heard about the gender neutral thing, is that, it's not as if you're going to have a boy walking up to a urinal right next to a girl sitting at a toilet. That's not what they're talking about. But there is going to be so much more privacy that you actually don't know you can't have a teacher bust into a private stall to find out if somebody's shooting up or doing drugs or something in there. That's part of the concern, is that you are giving kids so much autonomy that if they're already doing bad things in the current bathrooms, you're actually giving them more of ability to do that now. But to answer your question about, is that something that you ever experienced? I actually was that kid in high school. I was the kid who would not go to the bathroom.
So you relate to this?
It was for different reasons. Part of it was just because at the time, now I'm not saying there was it was weird to go to the bathroom in high school. And maybe I was alone in this, Brad. I mean, I don't know. I was in Collinsville. I would not go to the main bathrooms if I needed to really go, because I thought like people came and went out of those bathrooms who were not going to the bathroom. Like kids were coming in and out and they were doing other stuff.
Like what?
They were maybe starting a fight. They were saying what they couldn't say in class. Like it wasn't necessarily they were threatening me. There was just a lot going on.
It didn't feel like a safe space for you to go in.
Yeah, I just want to go take a poop, like just let me go in the bathroom.
What about peeing? I thought we were talking about peeing.
I was talking about pooping because I can get in and out and I can go pee fast.
Did you have a problem going pee in high school, at the school?
I don't remember having a problem just running in and going pee, but I would still try as hard as I could to not go to the bathroom at school because there was always just so much going on in the bathrooms. Or my other trick was, this is apropos of nothing, there was a bathroom near the vocational center that nobody knew about, and I would raise my hand during class because I knew, okay, that's a secret bathroom, and there's never anybody going during class. That's the only time I would go. But it was the same kind of stuff where, you just didn't want to be a part of whatever the thing was that was going on in the bathroom because it usually wasn't good.
Whenever I was in high school, I went to Freeburg, and Freeburg wasn't a very big high school, so there wasn't the main bathrooms and then those off. If you had to go, you went to those bathrooms. There were some kids that would get into some stuff. Most of the bad stuff at Freeburg, though, happened kind of like outside the art building. And I think it's a rumor, but they said the art teacher would show the kids where they could go to smoke so they wouldn't get caught and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But most of that stuff happened. But there were instances of fights starting in the bathroom and stuff like that. But whenever I started substitute teaching at a high school, a local high school here, there were times where I would use a restroom and I would come out and I would catch kids in the middle of, I don't know if they were swapping a vape, sometimes they were swapping drugs. I've known some SROs, they've told me, school resource officers, they've told me some stories about how they would go in there and it's like, oh, there were 2 sets of feet in that stall and one of them was guys and one of them was girls and they weren't doing anything good. That sort of thing happens. And you're telling me, Annie, at Edwardsville, this bathroom, the stuff goes from the top to the bottom?
Completely enclosed.
Yeah, so there's so much more than just they're smoking cigarettes that could go on in these bathrooms. I totally understand where those students are coming from saying, you know what, I don't feel safe in here. I would rather just go home and do the mad dash.
I think it's sad.
It is.
As a student, like if I were just a student going to Edwardsville, I would actually like that better because there'd be more privacy while I took a dump. But aside from that, anybody who wants to do...
Can you just show me a little bit of respect? And the listeners.
While I would defecate.
Oh. Just stick
Use
with
the
go
bathroom.
Go
into
number
the
2?
stall to go
Okay.
to the bathroom. I mean,
Okay.
we're there.
Papa.
now. No,
blanket.
stop it.
All right. All right.
I literally got a handwritten note about this.
I know. It's
from a very precious lady.
I'm not trying to. This is part of the conversation.
It's very
This is the way I talk to my friends.
illustrative.
And if I were just going to the bathroom, sitting down, doing a defecate, then
I literally no respect.
I would be happier to have more privacy. The trouble is, the converse is true, that if you're doing anything other than what you should be doing in there, you also have more privacy and you're harder to catch.
Or if you're doing drugs and you OD or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, these are all things that have been discussed in this, and they're all like worst case scenarios. Most people are like, I would just like to pee. Most people are like, I just want to go in there. And I was thinking to myself when I was hearing all about the gender neutral bathrooms and stuff, and I'm not in favor of that. I would like girls to be able to go where girls are, boys to be able to go where boys are. I said what I said. However, the people who were pushing on this, I thought to myself, okay, I need to educate myself on this before I speak. So I watched the entire school board meeting that was online. It was like an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something, where they showed the blueprints and the plans of option A, option B, do this or do that. And I was thinking to myself, for an adult, if we had that bathroom situation here, I could see how I wouldn't feel threatened to be in a space where there were enclosed private stalls next to other ones where men and women could be using them. But here's the rub for me. I don't want to sit to pee on a toilet that a man just peed into and peed all over the seat. If you go to gender neutral bathrooms in like Starbucks or if wherever else they happen to be, men, you do not take care of bathrooms the way women's restrooms are taken care of. And it's the downgrade in cleanliness and the absolute guarantee that there's going to be urine on the toilet when I go in there makes me not go in those bathrooms anymore. So I feel like, once again, women are getting totally screwed in this whole endeavor because we have no safe place to go where we're going to go have the ability to sit down to pee and not have to sit in a man's urine. Or the woman who just hovered the last time she went in there because there was man's urine on there and now it's a mess that way too. It's a problem. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not tasked with having that solution, but I do know that every time we find solutions to the problems that we care about most, women get screwed.
Also, what problem is Edwardsville fixing by doing this? Like, what was the issue that they're like, man, we got to completely redo everything and spend however much money to redo this because we got such a problem here?
I don't remember how they positioned it, but I do know that they have a very full school. And I do think they need more accommodations.
Okay.
And I also think that part of what they were trying to do was make it more safe to use the restrooms because people didn't feel safe using them before. And they're like, a lot of people argue, and I agree with them for the most part, that I don't think this solves the problem that you're saying that you're trying to solve, at least as far as safety and security does. I mean, if you can add a toilet and it counts for a female toilet and a male toilet, I don't know. I don't know what the accommodations are. I don't feel like they achieved what they didn't sell to me that their solution was effective to the problem that they were trying to highlight.
Yeah,
But-
like if their goal was, hey, you know what, we got to add bathrooms anyway because we're just at capacity. Let's make these new bathrooms individual stalls so that we can avoid the whole cultural issue that's happening right now. Let's just stay out of it. If that's the way it was positioned, that would be one thing. This looks like they said, you know what, let's capitulate to this woke movement. And I wasn't part of the board meeting, but that's what this looks like. And if that's the direction, like if this is sliding in that direction, then you go, oh, well, that's just one step. I can deal with this one step, but then what's the next one? And then what's the next one? Is it showers next? I mean, I know we're not there. I know people are going to cry wolf and go, well, they didn't say that. I know they didn't say that. I'm saying that every step in that direction goes further and further down that line.
And I mean, I will be honest and say that I was skeptical when all of the hubbub was going on about the gender-neutral bathrooms. That's an easy thing to pounce on from our side. And I wanted to be very well-versed in what I was talking about before I spoke on it. And I actually thought that the solution that was proposed did give enough privacy in the toilet area for it to feel like a bunch of individual bathrooms as opposed to shared. So the privacy is still there. But to me, it just creates a host of other problems, which is like urine on the seat, which is a gender thing, but not always. So I don't know.
It's kind of a step up for the guys then, because the girls are going to take better care of the guys' room.
No, they're not. They're gonna not pee at school. They're gonna have to hold it, and you know we have people on their live chat right now talking about their kids coming home saying that they were holding it since the second hour, which is so sad. That's ridiculous. But anyway, the bathroom issue is a huge issue on just a whole bunch of fronts. I don't think that there's an easy solution to it. What they probably need is more space, more building, and you can't always have that. But it is an issue that people care about, and it's a complex issue, too, where you can fix one thing, but then you cause 3 or 4 other problems, and you fix those problems, then you have another issue. It's not an easy case. But I do know that if you look at the different things that Katie Stewart sponsored, her legislation that she sponsored when she has been a representative of the 112th, she sponsored legislation to change birth certificates to include male, female, and X. She sponsored the feminine hygiene products that are available in bathrooms, 4th through 12th grade and college. She is very aggressive about the sex education as she sees it. Now, sex education, I think, is a very good thing, but how is it going to be implemented? Who's going to be teaching? What are they going to be teaching? Who gets to determine what is age appropriate? And she's been a huge advocate for these all-gender multi-stall restrooms. And the one school where they really start to push it through, her husband is the administrator of. Oh, not anymore, though. He took a different job. Let's take a quick break. We'll wrap up the show when we come back. I am looking forward to giving you the results. I thought that this would be obvious like you guys said it was. You guys both said that Biden was the bigger liability.
Yeah.
Which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats? 48% to 52% right now, and I'm not going to tell you who's got what, but the people who go vote right now in the next 10 minutes could be the deciding factor. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
The Retirement Advisory Group with Bob and Tammy Kershaw, with Thomas Helbig. They are planning their final of the year Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's free. It costs you nothing. We just ask that you reserve your spot before they are all gone. It's taking place next Tuesday, and it's October 1st. The event begins at 6:30 p.m. I get there at 6, and from 6 to 6:30, I try to meet each of you if I can get to everybody in time. And Mark Cox does the same thing. Mark Reardon will be there as well. So from 6 to 6:30, I'll be there meeting folks. And at 6:30 p.m., we turn it over to Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group. And they take like 45 minutes. You'll be out of there well before 7:30 p.m. It's at the Frontenac Hilton. You do need to reserve your spot, though. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Call them. Reserve your spot today. You can find all the details you need online at retirementkey.com.
Max Shows presents the St. Charles Gun Show. Celebrate the Second Amendment at the premier gun show in the region. Shop hundreds of tables with thousands of guns, knives, military surplus, tactical gear, and more. See one-of-a-kind antique weapons, new product demonstrations, and thousands of accessories. For the largest selection of rifles, handguns, and more, you gotta go to the gun show this Saturday and Sunday at the St. Charles Convention Center. Visit maxshows.com. That's maxshows.com.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsl.honorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Good afternoon, Mark Reardon on another beautiful day in St. Louis. Coming up after Fox News at 3, we are going to holistically examine the holistic aspects of Kamala Harris's holistic policies, which are, candidly, extremely holistic. It's all coming up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I showed the chicken foot sandwich a little bit earlier in the show. Did you say, you said that if people said it tasted good, Ryan, it's a chicken foot attached to whatever, I guess the chicken leg. That's how that works.
It's like a tomahawk steak.
On a sesame seed bun, that if people were like, it's really good, Ryan, you're really going to like it, you would eat it.
I'd have to know they weren't joking.
How would you know?
Like they weren't going, yeah, hey, it's really good. You should try it. I could pick that tone up like that. I could pick it up and be like, you guys are joking.
Do you really think you could pick it up like that?
Maybe. I would rely on the goodwill of the people. And if they said it was good, then I'd say, all right, maybe I'll try it.
Would you eat it?
No.
You wouldn't taste it?
Nope. Not on purpose. I mean, if somebody gave me a piece of it and was like, here, try this, then yeah, I'd try it. But no, I'm not going to. A sandwich, a sandwich with a bone in it. You pointed that out.
I don't understand. I mean,
I
listen, I know that I'm like an anti-bone in meat person, but what is the bread for?
It's a good question because it does seem like you just hold it by the foot, kind of swing it around until it got in your mouth. Now, if you were on a desert island, Annie, and
I'd rather die.
The only two things that you had on the desert island were this sandwich and a gourmet sushi chef, you would do what?
Sushi.
Okay, good to know.
I could eat sushi for purpose of life-saving measures.
It's a good thing he was on the raft.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that.
I never go anywhere without an emergency sushi chef.
Right.
With
all the supplies.
Say emergency sushi chef.
He's got the bamboo
say
roller.
See if
emergency sushi chef.
That's really good.
Thank you.
You're professional.
Well, I eat a lot of it.
I don't think that's
emergency
related.
Sushi.
Yeah.
He's got it in his glove box.
Break glass in case of.
We had the hearings today, again, of the Secret Service. I want to tie this all in a nice little bow for everybody here on the Annie Fry Show. The Fox News reports that the United States Secret Service, which has been subject to heated scrutiny after 2 assassination attempts. This is a wild sentence. If you just, like, dove into the end of September 2024, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, if you're looking at, early June, you're like, here's a report from September.
Even if you, like, went into a coma in, let's say, January of 2024. Kamala Harris is running for president.
Yeah.
Donald Trump won the nomination. They've tried to kill him twice. They hit him once. And the Secret Service is like, doop-a-doo. They
want to investigate us for some reason.
The United States Secret Service, which has been the subject of heated scrutiny after 2 assassination attempts against former President Trump that many believe were avoidable, is now facing even more heat. Because it is making preparations. It's about time they got their act together and made preparations to send employees to an LGBTQ-focused event. Where? At Florida's Walt Disney World.
What?
The Secret Service is expected to send agents to Disney World on October 7th to 10th as part of the Out and Equal Workplace Summit that includes breakout sessions, a gala, and various events aimed at promoting LGBTQ diversity in the workplace. The website says, quote, individually and as a collective community, we can break down barriers, bringing everyone along and illuminate the way forward where workplaces and the world are rich in inclusion and belonging, and innovation and opportunity are unlocked for LGBTQ plus people and for all. I would think that it is a protectee of the Secret Service, of the United States Secret Service, that the very, very last thing that I would be interested in is the sexual orientation of the person who needs to act like a BA when my life is on the line. Do not care. Gay, straight, none of it. Don't care at all. Not important whatsoever. How good are you at the job? So I look at the Secret Service right now and I'm like, how good are you at the job? I have questions. This is the Secret Service's focus right now.
It's almost as if you could fill it. You could take that same paragraph in light of everything that's happened in the last couple months, fill it in with anything, because LGBTQ doesn't even matter in that sentence. It's just that it's anything else that has nothing to do with their job. They're sending them to Disney to do breakout sessions together. That the whole paragraph is just embarrassing.
Go back to the basics of protecting people's lives.
Yes.
And that's it. It's mind-blowing. Fox News says as the Secret Service continues to face various investigations and reports into massive failures in adequately protecting Trump from 2 assassination attempts, along with serious concerns about the agency's staffing levels, American Principles Project President Terry Schilling told Fox News Digital the event in Florida is the last thing it should be allocating resources towards. Yeah, because you know that ain't cheap. She said, to say this is a bad look for the Secret Service might be the understatement of the decade. There have now been 2 near assassinations of a former president in the last 2 months. The readiness and basic competence of the agency is now rightly under scrutiny. Is this really the right time to be sending staff members to Disney World? Like maybe after you've officially and sufficiently protected the life of the people then you go, I'm going to Disney World. But you're not there. This isn't the day.
Maybe. You if you've had a sentence that just says the Secret Service is going to be focusing on and then fill in the blank. The only thing that should ever be in that blank is protecting the president.
She went on to say, a person's sexual preferences should have 0 bearing on their ability to protect our nation's leader. Duh. So why is the Secret Service spending so much time and resources obsessing over LGBTQ plus issues? This is a serious scandal that the agency needs to address immediately. Like, if you want to actually get to the place where we treat people equally, let's stop obsessing about our differences. Let's stop prioritizing them over everything else. Because listen, you're not a better person because you're straight. You're not a better person because you're not straight. You are a human being. You're worthy of dignity. You're worthy of respect. And if you want to do something that lowers your dignity or is less deserving of respect, that's an action you're going to have to take. But every time we slice and dice people into divisions, then we get an opportunity to stop and look at the people on the other side. Maybe we should stop othering people. And also do our jobs, the basic premise of our jobs. And for the Secret Service, you got a little work to do. You got a little focus and allocation of resources. A really good point, too. 276 votes. Which candidate would be a greater liability for the Democrats? 53% of the people said Kamala Harris.
Wow. Okay.
That's amazing to me. It's split. I don't like either of them. My goodness. Mark Reardon Show coming up next. Don't go away.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. While we celebrate the reversal of Roe v. Wade, there is still much work to be done to support life and pregnant women before they cross state lines. Together, we can provide the love, support, and options that women need to choose life for their children. Coalition Life celebrates more than 3,500 clients served and thousands of lives saved since we began this mission with you. Each one is a miracle. Over the years, day in and day out, our team has walked alongside women facing the fear and challenges of an unexpected pregnancy. Through the support of this community, we have given them hope and a path to choose life for the children they carry. Visit coalitionlife.com to give your vital support while reducing or completely eliminating your state taxes through Missouri's 70% tax credit. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com.